How are we doing, Skywatchers? Good to see you all in tonight. It's a lovely clear night. God, we're getting used to having all these clear nights. Wait until winter rolls in and we're not getting so many. That's going to be... I'm going to get so disappointed there. But it is clear. We're waiting for that blue to go, the last bit of daylight to disappear. More stars, more moving objects, more tracks, more colours, and hopefully some more anomalies too. Do say hello as you're joining us for our UFO Skywatch. Let us know where you're watching from. Who have we got in already? We've got Alan in as well there, Alan. James is in, never mind there. Dan, Spare Rib. Trading Cards is in. Jedi, Janie is in there. Stu as well. And A-Up, how are you guys doing? Who was in on the deep dive earlier? Again, another interesting one. It's like doing our UFO homework, but right now it is Skywatch time there. Coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, right in the heart of Crop Circle country, and just down the road from Stone Henge. So a long history of the weird and wonderful in these night skies. Tonight should be no exception to do help us spot the strange and anomalous. We're getting a few tracks already. It's gone a bit quiet at the second, but we'll see how it goes. What's my light going out there? But yeah, we've got Vega in shot tonight. Hopefully it's going to remain clear for us, and there are lots and lots of spotting tonight there. Baseman as well, and Roy, really cloudy in Clacton. It was quite cloudy earlier for us, sadly, but luckily it has cleared off. Oh, we're getting the thing come back. That's a bit frustrating, the flashes on the screen, but hopefully it's going to stay clear for us here tonight. You can join us, you can live vicariously through us tonight, and hopefully we're going to see some anomalies. Oh, we got a track on the screen there. It's quite faint. Oh, it lost it. That's a shame. There, hopefully the tracker is going to behave a little bit better tonight. We've implemented a few new fixes, and we'll see if they've actually had any effect. There, Lucy is in as well. How are you doing? So guys, do say hello as you're joining us. Let us know where you're all watching from tonight there, and ask away any questions there. Maybe it is what we're doing, why we're doing it, or how we're doing it there, or if you've had an experience with the phenomena, we'd love to hear about that one too. Yeah, got some tracks, but not much movement. It was a little bit busier earlier on, but yeah, it has, I think it's held off a little bit now there. But we'll see how we get on as the night goes on. Yeah, that blue is going to go. That is the last bit of daylight that this lens is picking up there. It's dark for me down here on the ground, but the lens is super sensitive to light to allow us to see more and more, and therefore we're still picking up a little bit of daylight in that blue colour. But as it moves on, we're going to see the colours of those stars. We're going to see more of them. We're going to see more moving objects, because there's a lot there that is just a little bit too bright to see. But yeah, it should get lots more there. And Luca there. Hello, people. I know the rules of the channel. Sorry about it. Good to see you, Luca. We've not got many rules. But good to see you. How are you doing? Yeah. Oh no, that's trying. It's trying to track something that isn't there. That's already the tracker is off on its own devices there. We're going to see how that goes there. Matty is in. Good to see you. So yeah, guys, do say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Make sure you're following, subscribed, whatever it is, wherever you are, because we're on pretty much every night. If it's a clear sky, as we're having a good long run of those with the heat wave at the minute, it's the UFO UAP Skywatch coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, which is right in the heart of Crop Circle country and just down the road from Stone Henge, so we see a lot. And on those cloudy nights, and when they do start to come back in, we do an alien radio signal hunt there, kind of like the film Contact. We're listening out on what is called the hydrogen line, and that is the channel on the radio dial where scientists theorize that if ET is out there, that's where we would hear, or see, we should say, the message from this. Whether our signal is heard, and if the moon's up, we haven't done one in a while, have we? And I can be bothered, we do a moon watch. It looks like that. We see strange things on, off, and around the moon, and there is a little bit in the news at the minute, isn't there, about the old moon, potential motherships around it and whatnot. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed and following, so you get those notifications when we go live there. Carl is in, and Carl coming in with the gifts. Thank you for that. All the gifts, the subs, the members, all that jazz does go back into the stream there, helping us improve what we're doing. And no, we're up to date on that one. Let me check across the board. A couple of tracks are right there. Where did we get to? Why is my chat not updating there as well? There we go. There it is. Big flash in C4. A few seconds of good spot in there, Baseman. Where are we in here? And Paul there. Good evening from Kahawa here. Most nights, best wishes to you and family. Enjoying the summer. Now a tad cooler. Oh, Paul, 100%. And good as always to have you in. God, it is a little bit... What? TikTok has already suspended gifting. Fuck you, TikTok. What are they saying this time? Do a report such as pre-recorded or copied content. What's copied about a live Skywatch? Go fuck yourself, TikTok. I hate that platform. I hate it to death. does not reward hard work at all in the slightest. But anyway, we move on. Ooh. But yes, good to have you in. God, yeah, now it is cooler. It is a lot better there. And Lethal, you kind of come in with the last gifts there. Thank you for those ones, sir. And who got the membership support? Thank you for that one. A massive appreciation. It all goes back into the stream there. Who got that membership? I can't see it actually on my screen there, but do thank Paul for that one. We just had a deep dive, members deep dive, didn't we, before this stream and yesterday? So we'll probably have one in a couple of weeks' time there. And Carl,
nom, nom, nom.
Thank you for feeding Alan there as well. Yeah, we've scrolled through those ones. Terry from the northeast. How are you doing tonight there? Flash in B42. Right, B4. Let's have a look. Right. Okay, so somewhere around here. Keep your eyes on this part, guys, because stationary flashing is incredibly anomalous. Doesn't sound very sexy, but everything up there should be moving, other than the stars. Technically they're moving, but they're slow. Should be in motion. The stars don't flash. They might twinkle with atmospheric interactions, but a stationary flash takes a lot of energy to just sit there. And flash back to us there. So if we see that repeat from the same spot throughout the course of the stream, that can be an anomaly in of itself. Just got in just in time there, Carl. Thank you for that one. And Jedi got it. Thank you for the heads up there, Lucy. Well, Jedi, good time there. You better watch our old deep dives back, but you'll also be able to join us for the next one. Oh, it's having a sulk. It's having a flash again. Now that is to do with TikTok, sadly, guys. So if that gets too bad, the flashing of the screen there, and doesn't sort itself out, we might have to cut you off like a severed limb. But blame TikTok for their stupidity. Oh, an untracked one. Good use of the grid, guys. We can zoom in on the good ones. If you call out the grid reference, A2, for example, it should highlight the grid. Try and predict the box you think it's going to go into, because then, with the lag, it should line up just about right there. And Lethal there, and no worries, Lethal. Oh, thank you for supporting us in all those ways there. It is good to have you on board. And Marcus, how are you doing there? And Rachel there, watching from the west of Ireland. Good to have you in. So Ireland, a long history of the phenomenon. One of the places that we get some of the most accounts of from you guys joining us in the chat there. Have you ever seen anything strange there? And Opinion, getting a few glitches. Yeah, we're getting it's to do with TikTok, and they've updated something, as they always bloody do. They threw us off for about 2 weeks last time because of their silly update to include, I don't know, some sort of AI animation that was absolutely pointless, and it threw us off for 2 weeks. That's why we started on the YouTube. So yeah, if it gets too bad, remember, guys, check us out over on the tubes. Firstly, I mean, there are ads, but other than that, it looks a lot better. It looks like this round the right way, more of the sky, less of my face, and yeah, none of the silly TikTok interactions there as well. And DJ, how are you doing? How's the family doing as well, DJ there? Good spotting, Lucy. And Raf, how are you doing? Never mind, good to see you there. A good spot in Jedi. Down here as well. Jamesy, sorry, there you are as well. And Rio, we're all good. How are you all doing tonight over at your end there? Yeah, we're up to date across the board there. There we go. Rachel as well, thank you for the follow. Good to have you in there. And good to have you on board. Guys, make sure I said you're following, subscribed, whatever it is, wherever you are, because we're on pretty much every night looking for evidence of the strange and anomalous. But do say hi. Let us know where you're watching from, and ask away any questions. There's no silly questions here at all. We want to hear from you all. We're just really waiting for turn up the brightness, see if we can get a little bit more of those stars. We're waiting for it to get fully dark. This lens lets in a lot of light, more than we can see with the human eye. It allows us then to see some of these faint objects you wouldn't otherwise see, Zoom like these ones here. And we're looking for these objects to stop dead, should have at speed, change their course or trajectory to tell us for sure that they are something more anomalous. Till it does that, then we just don't have the evidence to say that it is strange. Now, it doesn't mean that it is a man-made satellite. It just means it's statistically most... Oh, that was a good one. Did you guys see that one just down here? In C4, that was if we were just a little bit further around, that would have fully framed it. That was a good shooting star, wasn't it? That is awesome. Oh, we've got a flasher. Oh, it's kicking off tonight already, guys. This is going to be a good night. Not only is it clear, but look, we've got a flasher, we've got a shooting star, and we're only 9 minutes into the stream there. Now, that object, although it couldn't catch it there, I think the brightness kept losing it, but that flashing means that object, whatever it is mostly tumbling rather than actually flashing away there. DJ coming in with the shares, appreciate that, guys. It is the likes, the shares, the tapping away, all of that stuff there that really does help us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves. You never know who is going to come in and what experience with the phenomena that they are going to share with us. Where do we get to in the chat there? Oh, it could be good to add a flash log, the grid reference with the next shooting star log as well. So Carl, I'm going to have to wait to do more updates, but yes, that is bang on. I'm thinking about adding that and also the general numbers, making them like on the TikTok you see the scrolling messages, like every now and again just kind of show the rolling totals, and also the time of how many minutes behind I am in the chat as well, so then people kind of just know roughly how long it's going to take before I get to their messages. But I'm going to have to wait at least a week to do those ones. Sadly, it's a good call. And X is in and out. Shake it all about X there. And Robert is in there too. And Sophie, Asha, and Arlo are good, thanks. Are excellent. Got a few. About the wife, she's been through a lot there, DJ. So I can imagine it there. Marcus is in. Evening TikTok true. And Rodney, how are we doing tonight? Silly questions like, is the earth flat? Well, the problem is, Raf, is they're never normally questions, they're more statements, and that's where I have a problem. But I'm open to it. I'll hear anybody's arguments around these sorts of things. The silly question is, what flavour Frey Bentos tonight are you going to have? Where are we down here? Alan as well. Hello, Earthlings there. Oh, Tubes is going crap tonight. Oh, I missed the. Oh, you missed it. Is the Tubes, guys? How is it over for you guys on the Tubes? We're showing all right on this end. We are getting a couple of flickers. It's worse on the old the TikTok in a minute. But apparently, it's something to do with TikTok fighting over the video source between the two of them. But it's TikTok that causes the problems with it there. It didn't used to, now an update, and now we get more of that. We'll figure it out. I've got some ideas, but I didn't get a chance to fix them today. Kate is in. How are we doing? Good spotting their cards. And I'm glad to hear you're doing well there, Rodney. I do like to hear from you all. I'm glad. I keep thinking it's already Sunday, but it's not. We've still got a few minutes, guys. We've still got a few minutes left there. See, I knew I was from a warrior blood. Bang on. Where are we down there? Oh, it keeps freezing. What's our little... let's have a look at our status there. What's our connection like? Yeah, it says our connection's all right here. Might be a local one, but then again it might not. We'll see what everybody else says on the matter. Let's have a look across the board. So guys, you were doing our live UFO, a UAP Skywatch tonight. They're coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, which is right in the heart of Crop Circle country, sitting just down the road from Stone Henge. So a long history of the highly strange. In fact, this little town that we're in, Warminster, had a big UFO flap here, possibly a unique one. I don't think I've heard of one quite like it anywhere else in the world. In fact, it was for about 10 to 15 years, I'm not on the specifics, maybe 13 years, oh, that's not a flash, that it was just consistent sightings. It was crazy exactly how much was going on here. Again, it was everything, crashes, landings, abductions, missing time, dead animals, you name it, strange things were happening. You could turn up any weekend and have a sighting yourself. So a very strange place. Again, I think the phenomena is still, to some degrees, active. Nowhere near as high as it was, but still quite common, especially when you speak to the locals there. And Grandmaster there, a special mention to Barrington Euro tonight, who is, I can't pronounce it, pioneered the rocket exhaust some 83 years ago. Excellent. And Rachel there. See, lots of strange lights here in the west of Ireland there, in the countryside. It's fascinating. It really is. And how to think that people have been seeing these since the dawn of time. We've interpreted it as different stuff, haven't we, over the years, depending on the culture at the time, what they all knew. And now in this modern era, well, they're all satellites, aren't they? And they're all secret military stuff. Some of them will be as well, but it's very easy to write it off there. Denny's as well, how are you doing? And Leaful, no, you're saying hello there as well. Is that Vega, or is it just me, or has it been a lot brighter? So that is Vega. That is a big, bright, beautiful purple Vega. We've got to wait for that blue to go before it's full contrast there. Look, you see the wobble of the atmospheric interaction, the haze basically there, giving them a little wobbling effect there. I think that's one of the reasons why the track is having such a sulk at the moment. Right, if that flashing stays as bad as it is, TikTok, I might sever you there. Nothing personal, but it's this TikTok that's causing the problem. So make sure you're following us at the Thing UFO over on the tubes, because a little bit better, but also I can't let one destroy the other. Hasn't dropped out once, so excellent base events. Hopefully, well, not good luck for you then, out, but hopefully it's stable across the board. And Ant-Man there, have there been any crop circles near you recently? Ant-Man, yeah, there's been a load. This season has been absolutely insane for crop circles. I didn't manage to get to see one this year. Did last year, but not this year, sadly. It is still our ambition to do a UFO Skywatch like this from right in the heart of a crop circle there, which I think will be a first there. And Smith, could you give us a breakdown of what you use there? Love to have a go myself there to see all sorts of the naked eye. Of course there, Smith. So we are basically, it's just one of the modern digital video cameras there. We use a Sony A7S, I think, one of the older ones. And then you've got to get a good lens that lets in a lot of light, and then we just connect it to the computer in through a, what do you call it, a capture card, video capture card there. The software that we're using actually is custom ourselves. I'm making it, hence why it's not perfect there, but it does also allow us the flexibility to improve, tweak, adapt, add features that we need there. We might make it, we probably will make it available to guys in our community, because if you join our Patreon, even the free tier, and then log on to our website, register on our website there with the same email address so it knows you're not a bot essentially, then you can get access to the tools that we have. So this isn't there yet, because as you can tell it's not quite there yet, but we have our, if I should bring up my little video here, this shows you the website, normal sort of stream calendar, shows you what we're planning, merch, deep dive information, Discord, community, all that sort of stuff there. But when it scrolls through on the little video there, it will show you some of the features. I need to add some more to this little video, but there we go. Right, you get the sensor dashboard where you can customize different sort of sensors that are being measured in real time. So Schumann resonance, geomagnetic index, solar flare, all sorts of space weather, anything that could be contextually relevant. That's a bright one. Why is that not being? Oh, there we go. Got tracked then. All of that sort of stuff there. You can pop out there. You can remove the ones you want, so you can hunt. And then once this is done, you'll see our live alien radio signal computer is running all of the time there, and it is listening on what's called the hydrogen line, the channel on the dial where scientists theorize that if ET is out there, if ET's out there, that is where they would put the message, so you can run and log signals there too as well. But yeah, we've also got the dog whistle, so certain tones and frequencies apparently are good at bringing in the phenomena, you know, summoning them in even there. And if you've got suitable speakers, you can plug it into that and then play those tones yourself. Oh, Janie, a little bit of interference on tubes. Is it the flashing on the screen, like just like that? Is it those ones? Because that hopefully isn't a connection. That is that's a TikTok causing problems for everybody issue there. Love this stuff there, Jamie. Well, we love having you in here as well. I am so surprised, but pleasantly surprised, how many of you guys are just as curious and just as willing to spend your time here with us whilst we're looking. Originally, I was just going to do this to see myself, to see if we could, you know, do something strange. Yeah, I could see something strange here. But you guys have been generous enough to keep us company and share your knowledge and your own experiences. The gifts are back on the top there.
Nom nom nom.
Thank you, Carl, for feeding Alan there. Could have been hours in the night staring at the sky. We used to do about 4-hour streams. The only reason I'm not is because I work full time and it's starting to catch up with me at the minute. But otherwise, I could. If I could leave this camera on, if it was all right out in the weather, I would. I really would. There. With the green and black stuff, yeah, so that is, never used to get that, yeah, Raf. So that is something to do with the TikTok software arguing with the video source and causing them both trouble. So I'm hoping it's going to calm down a little bit there, but TikTokers, I might end up having you over there. Doodle is in. Did you enjoy the deep dive? And Grandmaster, there's a weird grid over the sky. What's going on? Yeah, that's there. If you look really, you know, with your eyes, it's all up there, including the green lines. M to the C, how are we there? Not perfect is an understatement there. That's in your birthday card from your mother. Evening, Alan there. Joseph there. I need you to accept the message there so I can send you. Excellent. I'll have a look in a bit, Joseph, for that one then. I'll do that one straight away. And DJ, come here there. Don't like the TikTok glitch. Yeah, it's really a pain in the arse tonight. So, TikTokers, yeah, be prepared. You might have to come over to the tubes because it is having a sulk for some reason. And Conspiracy Fire, if you had to prove a UFO/aliens are real, what video/incident would you use as proof? Oh, good one. I don't know. I'm not so fussed on the proving it in a general sense, because I think like that has to be a longer process, you know. It has to kind of go through the slow process of science at some point and things like that. I think what I want to do is slowly erode people's skepticism, you know, to get it's not as ridiculous as the skeptics think, you know. Like, I think that's where we're just chiseling away around the base, and I think then the rest will follow around it there. But I don't know. One of the most compelling testimonies I think I heard was the Harold Malmgren interview from Jesse Michaels there. You know, presidential advisor to multiple presidents, probably single-handedly responsible for us not getting blown up during the old Cuban Missile Crisis. They're very respectable, experienced individual. Like, in fact, he came out to say these things. You know, to confirm a lot of it. Oh, yeah, he's having a sulk again. That was, I thought, was one of the best ones there. And did you see the triangle light flash I captured last night? Oh, probably not. No, I haven't checked my messages probably in about 2 days at the minute. So I'm so far behind, Joseph. But I'll have, if I'm tagged in it at some point, I will get to it there. And Adam, how are we there as well? Yeah, it is glitching like mad. That's TikTok for you. That's TikTok. Every time they do an update, it's for a pointless thing that, you know, if you send a gift, then all of a sudden my face goes pink or something stupid. I get lipstick on, whatever it is, and then it always screws with the bloody systems there. It's not as bad on the tubes, but it is bad enough that if it gets any worse, I am going to sever that limb because I don't want it to destroy everybody's experience there. 3,000 subs. Oh, thank you, Rafa. Yeah, we are. I mean, over on the tubes now. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we passed that milestone. Didn't we there, which is crazy. The YouTube was just the backup for the stream, wasn't it, there for a while, but no, we've got a really cool community of you guys over there, so glad we found some awesome new friends. And Roy there, and many moons ago I was fortunate enough to see Halbop in all its glory. They're absolutely breathtaking. I didn't at the time. I think I was too young to really pay attention, so I kicked myself now. I think Halbop was when I was younger, but yeah, was it? Oh, I'm thinking of Shoemaker Levy. That might be the one that I was thinking of there. When's Halbop due back round? Is it like 90 years or something? Alan there, the Daily Masonic shuttle from Saturn just coming in there, and oh how Malak the Lord Satan, it's just on its daily commute, the equivalent of the Janet flights there. Everyone's good, Adam. How are you doing? Yeah, if Lethal, if you're over on the tubes, then it must be bad on the TikTok there. And Ollie there, long night tonight in Manchester. There, nothing visible with the eye. Sadly, yeah, there's more light polluted areas. You can struggle sometimes, but it might get dark. It's always worth keeping one peeper out for it. But you can enjoy, Ollie, our skies whilst you're struggling with them there. And Alan is misbehaving. Alan's always misbehaving. That's why it's green. It's actually it's a flash up of his arse. And just a prophecy I heard about the end of days. And James there, good evening there, first time watching, like usually an early night for me. Oh, James, welcome aboard. Well, I'm probably going to be the last of your early nights there. This stream, we're on pretty much every night, and you're very welcome in it to it there, but it gets very sticky. And, you know, we're getting people now passing their year anniversary of being in most nights for a year. It's a good little community, hanging out every night. Where, James, are you joining us from there? And how do you feel about the phenomena? I'd love to hear it as well there. And apparently it has happened. Oh, it's going to happen in 2028, Alan, for that one. And DJ there, when you get a chance, check the Discord there. Sent you 3 pics of Arlo showing how well he's... Oh, I will 100% there, DJ. Thank you. I'm so bad at my messages at the minute there. Might hop over, actually. Yeah, it is quite crap over on the tubes. On the TikTok, sorry. Yeah, it's knocking it. It's not as bad on the tubes, but it is knocking them both out there. Hello there as well. As it Weisberg says that the final window for installing the Antichrist is the Hebrew year, lasting from Rosh Hashanah 2027 until 2028. There, meaning 2nd of October 27. So we hear a lot about 2027, don't we, in general? So maybe aligning with some sort of prophecy like that. And there, how are we doing, Chris? Good to see you in there as well. From the islands of Guernsey. I've got a few people that like your skies. So I imagine your skies are absolutely phenomenal there. Very minimal light pollution. Have you ever seen anything strange in them? Thank you for joining us. Guys, if you are just hopping in, we are doing our live UFO UAP Skywatch tonight there. Coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, which is right in the heart of Crop Circle country and just down the road from Stone Henge. So long history of the weird and wonderful, the highly strange and anomalous. Lots of things we've seen over the years. Tonight should be no exception. And hopefully, yeah, we're gonna, as the last bit of that daylight's going, still a little bit blue, but so it's got to get a little bit more to go yet, but we're going to see more of the colours of those stars. But Vega's coming in nicely now. Let me turn up the brightness a touch. There we go, just to help the tracker out a bit. Hopefully we're going to see some anomalous moving objects as well. as well there too. So right, if that flashes one more time, I am going to cut the top off there. So oh my god, what sort of track was that? It is really struggling now, isn't it there? Oi oi, coming in with the shares there, and for the gifts, thank you oi oi, appreciate that. All goes back into the stream, the same as the super chats, the members, the Patreons, all that jazz, the merch. So we're saving up to get the show on the road. How you doing oi oi? To start off our UK UFO hotspot tour, we're going to kick things off with our Rendlesham Forest there, a live Skywatch from there, and then many other places around the UK that have a reputation with the phenomena. So hopefully we're going to get quite close to that one very soon. Basically, oh, there we go. Right. Oh god, it's having a full soak there. Okay, TikTokers, I'm so sorry, but we are going to have to cut you off tonight. So we're going to be on the tubes, but the TikTok platform seems to be dragging down everybody's experience. So we're gonna sever that limb. Totally sorry about that one. But do join us at the Thing UFO. We're still going to be live on the tubes there, but TikTok, I think, needs a bit of a slap. It's doing all of our visioning and giving me epilepsy. So sorry about that one, guys. And Robert, they're coming in with the gifts at the last minute. Do appreciate that one. But yeah, so sorry. But I'm going to have to cut you off there. But I will catch you later. Remember, tubers, we're still going to be here. Catch you later, TikTokers. Bye bye. Right. Let's see if that. No, that one. There we go. Right, that should prevent it from doing it now. Should do. I might actually have to close TikTok. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone, for that one, but yeah, a little bit too much of a pain. Do tell me if it still keeps going on, because I might actually have to close the app fully for that one, but turning it off should be fine. And James there, never seen any UAPs, but always looking there. Got it into it from Lou Elizondo's book. Oh, so quite a recent one, that one. I haven't read it. It's imminent, isn't it, his book? But this is the thing, isn't it? Excuse me. There we go. Sorry, yeah. So how people get into this, I think, there's various people at various levels, and having multiple different communicators coming at it from a slightly different angle just kind of helps a few different types of people across the bridge and all that sort of stuff, doesn't it? There, presenting a more plausible case. I think, like Dr. Phil has now come out, hasn't he? Has been very, very into the UFO phenomena and what might be going on. And just think of how many people that he will resonate with that, hadn't considered the subject matter before. And he will be that bridge into the phenomena there. I think that is slowly how we're going to erode the skepticism. And again, by skepticism, I mean just the people writing it off fully. I mean, it's totally fine to not believe in specific parts or specific theories around the phenomena. We don't ultimately know, with the information that is publicly available, what definitely is going on. But something is going on, isn't it, there? If you keep looking, James, you'll spot something there. Warehouse 13 now. I forgot how good that program was. Then rings a bell. I think I know what it's going to be about. I don't think I've actually seen it, though. What I mean is a lot of governments seem to be willing to do anything to start World War III than seek peace. And I was a kid when the Berlin Wall came down in 1989. It was truly a second summer of love. I can't imagine what that would have been like, especially after the years of oppression. I grew up in the 90s there, so just post that, late 80s, early 90s. And it really was a peaceful time. You had the Gulf War and stuff, but I don't think we're any more aggressive than we ever have been. I think it's easy to think that because of the way the media is in these days and age. But peace isn't. Peace is something that I think is earned, but it's not something. It's not like there is always another option of not fighting about something. You need both people to not fight. And I think it's a complicated one. I don't necessarily think the world is any worse than it has been, though. Rachel, you've come over from the TikTok. Good to have you in. Thank you for making your way over. I do appreciate that, guys. Wrong button, Sam. Wrong button. Yes, we never used to have these problems. I've got one solution that I can tackle at some point to see if I can get that a little bit more consistent. So hopefully we'll be back to the TikTok again tomorrow night. But it is a bit of a pain. Oi, you made it over to the tubes as well. Yeah, it's going to give you a seizure there. And Rich is in there Saturday night, chippy tea and the Skywatch there. I wouldn't mind some fish and chips. Actually, it's been a very long time there. Ascend as well, how are you doing? Good to see you in there. Alan as well. So I was thinking that I can see the entire world being divided when we can be great as a united force for good. Oh, totally. But I think we've got to get there. That's the thing. I don't think we can imagine. I think we have to earn it. The reason we fight and we bicker is because, very simply, if you boil it down, we have different approaches at how to act in the world, how to survive, how is the best, that's culture. And you can say, oh, one culture is better than another one, but it's not that simple, because it all depends on how much resources you've got, how much, what your weather is like. The reason we have different countries and different, borders of countries aren't decided really by wars. They're fought and they're lost, but you have to, if you're going to put a line around a country, the people in that division have to share a similar enough experience, because if there is massive discrepancy between their individuals' experiences, then they will end up to self-organize around that one. So it's like when we look at all the governance structures and all the order and all this sort of stuff, it's like, well, it's not the rules that we put in that make a society, it's our ability to follow them too. They have to go hand in hand. It's like when they're trying to input democracy in Iraq and stuff like that. It's like, lads, they're too poor. They are too poor for democracy. That it will not work out there without massive subsidization, because it's just too hand to mouth. But as technology advances, and energy resources, we can equalize our experience. All of the differences that we experience in the day-to-day, whether it is agricultural, what's your food supplies like because of weather versus, how much money do you have to spend on heating, all of the nuances of what different environments provide. We can use technology and energy essentially to equalize that playing field. And I think you find that the numbers support this, that basically the more you equalize that, the more the same everybody becomes. We don't need the differences of approaches, the differences of culture, the differences of individual temperament as well. They become not necessary when your environment experience is the same, and then everybody kind of naturally just falls into a similar line. And I think that is probably one of the biggest arguments for why the Greys make perfect sense to be us from the future. They look the same. There is no evolutionary reason for somebody to be, one of them to be more muscly than the other. You don't even have the sex dichotomy between them reportedly, apparently, as well. And also that temperament as well. Then people don't really talk about them having different personalities. Oh, Grey 1 was funny and Grey 2 wasn't. They seem to be very homogenized, which is exactly where you'd expect evolution to go when your technology is leveling the playing field out. So I think that's my take on why we bicker on Earth. I think we've still got to earn it there. I don't think we can force it, but it'd be nice if we could to some degree there. And what's the strangest things you've seen there, Rachel? Good question. So what is the strange? There's a few. So there's 3 categories of things that we see, and the best one is the slam dunk anomalous there, the stopping dead, the shooting off at speed, the changing its course or trajectory. Because if we see behavior movement like that, example, if we zoomed in on this one, if this one stops dead, shoots off speed, changes course or trajectory, that tells us for sure that it is anomalous. It is not a man-made satellite flying around up there, which statistically they're going to mostly be there. So that is the good distinction. It's quite rare, but it does happen. We've seen it a handful of times. There. Then you've got the middle, you've got number 2, which are the one-offs, we call them, so lots of numbers here tonight. The one-offs, which is it's not moving in a strange way for us to say 100% it's not man-made, but I've never seen a satellite look like that before. I've never seen one. Because your gut tells you there's something strange. We've seen all different variations of brightnesses, of seasons, all of those sorts of changes there like that. And never in, you'll see these things every now and again, like as one-offs there, and you go, I have no idea what that is. And then you've got the 3, which is certain coloration and flashing patterns there, which again, it's really, really loose. Your gut tells you there's something strange to this, but there is nothing else really to go on. And again, they're obviously the most common. Although, saying that, we've actually had more one-offs, more number of the second ones, the mid-range ones lately, than we have of the third. I'm not sure what that is about, but specifically the big bright orange object that we've had. I think we had it again recently, come across the screen there. Too fast to be a satellite and too large, and too slow to be a shooting star. Didn't have a tail, so kind of falling in the what the is that category there. But we've had other things as well. Stacey, how are you doing there? And saying nothing happens with the UK government there. Not a concern, it would seem. Yes, well, we're always late to the party, aren't we? Especially with this sort of stuff. As much as we might or might not like it, the Americans do lead the way in a lot of senses with culture, with tech as well. We have a couple of outliers, but that's normally in spite of our government rather than because of it there. But when we come to the party, I think we will show up with something. There has been a few UK government reports looking into the phenomena, and when you actually read them, now declassified, they do say there is something to it. There is something strange going on. Specifically, I'm thinking of the Condine report, which was the late 90s, early 2000s, looking into what could this all be, and their conclusion was probably a big part of it is going to be the plasmoid. So the idea that plasma caught in a magnetic sphere could be sentient there in some cases, though a lot of the orbs that people see flying around seem to be displaying this sort of weird behaviour. So, maybe interacting with its environments there, potential reproduction there, responding to communication and stuff like that. And that was the report. They need to look into that more and see if there is more to it. There are actual scientists now. There's a few different groups that are monitoring this quite quietly. They're getting the evidence in. I think we're very, very close to pushing that one over the line as a confirmation, which would be great because it'll be a form of non-human intelligence, unlike dolphins, that's not carbon-based. It's not like us at all. It's so different from us. But I don't think that's going to be all of the phenomena there. Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state there. That sounds like somebody's Tinder bio there. I'm in a hot, dense state. But yeah, no, you're right. That is how they do think it all started just after the Big Bang. And there we are, way more a war / a bloodthirsty. Not at all. I can understand why people think that, but this is where we have to be clever with this, because it's not the same as it was back then. Back in the day, we didn't have the access to see what was going on all of the time. Back in the day, it was just, your couple of news channels on twice a day, and then it was the odd newspaper, which would all follow the same sort of lines. We now have access to everything all of the time through various individual sources, people on the ground. So, and the human nervous system does not take these things on logically. It adds them all to a big ball. You can see a news story on the same event from 3 different news channels, right, or different sources like that, and that will make it feel like multiple different events in the nervous system. And what's happening when that's compounding with how we work is it feels much worse. But objectively, it's like the doomsday clock that's always floated around at the minute. We're so many minutes to midnight, which means the end of the world. That was put in during the Cold War as a sort of a guide of what our political tensions like. How close are we to the bomb being dropped? And what they've done lately is they keep fucking with it. Basically, they keep putting other things into it, and it's just to try and scare us, because that's not how it works. You can't put something like global warming, which is something that may be happening over a long period of time, that's very, very complex. We're not particularly sure what the outcome might specifically be, and all of that sort of stuff. You can't put that in with the fear of somebody's going to press a button, bombs are going to drop, and the world's going to end. So they keep meddling with the system and all this sort of stuff. So we're not getting the correct sample as we did back then. And you look at the Cuban Missile Crisis, that particular period there, and there's other times during the Cold War as well when fingers were on the button. Somebody said actually maybe even pressed, but it went wrong. And so the world is not like that right now. There's conflict and there's all these sorts of things going on. It's not a nice place, but I think we are just seeing more of what is already going on. Like, take politicians. Do you think politicians are any more corrupt? No, we're just seeing it more, because all of their messages are now recorded and all this stuff, and we can share this information. Don't have to wait for the one scandal to reach the newspapers and be spread. No, we're seeing all the details now, or more of them. So we're just seeing how bad it has always been. So I don't think at all that we are with that one. I could be wrong, but you've got to remember the observation bias with this. And it's the same with the phenomena as well. It really does feel like, doesn't it, at the minute, that it's ramping up, that there's more activity going on. But you've got to remember as well that our technology is doing this. More people have more high-quality recording devices in their pocket, and we're all so much more connected like we are tonight. So a big part of it, maybe not all of it, but a big part of it is going to be that we're just connected. We're seeing more of what was already going on all of the time. Hold on. Yeah, we're seeing more and more of what was already going on there as well. There's an awesome one there. Carl, how are you? You made it over. And Cash there, we're all good. How are you doing there? Tripods was Mer there. Very British Doctor Who wobbly balls. What about Quatermass? Quatermass, I thought was yeah, it doesn't get the attention that it deserves, does it there? USA have released more UFO files. They have, Cash, as well. So we actually did those in our deep dive just before this stream. So normally every couple of weeks, or when the Americans drop more files, we do a deep dive there with our members and Patreons. We look at what has been released. We read it through their whistleblower accounts, testimony, leaked documents, all that sort of stuff there that you hear in the UFO world, and we read it through with all of you guys. If you want to watch the past ones back or join us on our next one, link in the bio for a free month on those. Didn't think there was a lot that was great in it, but again, for me, actually, there was some incremental improvements. Again, we were seeing sort of a lot of similar stuff, but then it was similar with points of reference. And that doesn't sound very sexy, but when you have points of reference, you can get more confident with speed. You can get more confident with shape and more distance. And as we said on the stream there, less ducks as well. You had a cauliflower bargee. Are you allowed, Kate? That sounds very exotic for you there. The original movie. So I haven't seen it. I haven't, and it is on the list. We're going to see if it's available. We'll put it on our Alien Movie Club list there. And we're in there. Warehouse 13 was a team going around collecting paranormal artifacts and basically storing them in a warehouse. It was a cool still. That actually sounds well up my street. I'm going to have to check that one out. What's it on, Raf? Spare Rib, how are you there? And scrolling through the chat, having a chat. Gribbage is in there, Siphon as well. Let's have a go. And Bailey Co from Newport Pagnell, how are you doing tonight? Good to see you in. Guys, if you're new here, do say hello. Let us know where you're all watching from tonight. And do ask us any questions you may have there. Maybe it's what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, etc., etc. I would love to hear from you there, especially if you've had an experience with the phenomenon you're willing to share. But do make sure you're following, subscribed, whatever it is, wherever you are. Which is, at the minute, we're just on YouTube, aren't we? So give us a subscribe, because we're on pretty much every night. If it is a cloudy night, though, we do the alien radio signal hunt, searching for ET, hopefully saying hello on the hydrogen line. That is the channel on the radio dial where scientists theorize that if ET's out there, it's where they would put the hello message there. And Jedi, trying to be fair tonight. There must have been something before the Big Bang, for the Big Bang to happen. Oh, lethal. My brain hurts, but yes, that's where my brain goes. Okay, even in the universe, what's the universe in? You know, like what is the next layer upon layer upon layer? And I did hear a scientist once. I don't actually understand what he said, but when asked with that question, he said that's not the right question to be asking. So, you know, and I kind of get what he means, but also it doesn't make sense. I still want to know what that thing's in. But I'm more of a fan that it's whatever it is, it's like Russian dolls, nesting dolls. There. Oh, it still gave us a flash that time. Right, let me totally close TikTok down, even though it's disconnected, because I thought that would help it. But let's just close it outright. Let's see if that makes it not have a spaz. But yeah, the idea that, you know, Big Bang, the black holes could be other universes, could be how they're formed, because mathematically speaking, the singularity, the point of the Big Bang to its event horizon, you know, the bubble of it, the math that describes things in there is the same as the maths that describes from the event horizon, the outer edge, to the rest of the universe. Now, is that a property of the limitation of our maths, or, you know, it could be that there is one and the same thing. Again, what is the reverse of a black hole? It's a white hole. So a black hole is matter being sucked in and condensed to an infinitely dense point, tiny but infinitely dense point. Well, a white hole is an infinitely dense point of matter exploding outwards into a less dense, basically, out there into the world or into the universe. So, which it sounds very much like the Big Bang. So maybe that is, it's universes within universes within universe. Each black hole makes its own little pocket universe. Is where I lean, just on the limited information. You send missiles to the Ukraine and Israel. Of course we do, but we've always done that. We've always done that, and all of the other countries are doing that for their partners and all of that sort of stuff. There are so many horrible things that are going on everywhere in the world all of the time, but we see what is served up to us, and again, we see various things. Nowadays, the issue is not that the information isn't being served up, it's now that's a bright one, it's about what ones we're seeing, you know, and what are being filtered out by the algorithm and stuff like that. But it's all going on. It's probably going on to like 1,000,000 times worse, to be honest. But yeah, like, objectively, I mean, there's less people dying in war than there has for a very long time. It's just we're seeing more of it. We're seeing all of the details, all of the horrendousness of it. I mean, just take the Gaza stuff now, like how awful what's happening there. But that's also happened throughout every war all of the bloody time. It doesn't make it any better, but you know that stuff was going on to various degrees as well in Afghanistan and Iraq in the early 2000s. But there were less people with mobile phones on the ground to share it. You're protecting Jedi. Good use of the grid, guys, and loads of untracked ones tonight. It is not having a good time with that, is it? Those improvements didn't seem to make much of a difference, sadly. We're not any better. I don't think we are any better. I think if so, it's marginal. But I don't think we're any worse. And James there, has anyone been watching The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch there? I'm not keen on how it's been edited. A bit annoying there, but very fascinating discoveries. James, I've seen a few episodes. You guys have been recommending that to me since day one, and I got a few in, but then we started doing this every night, so now I just don't have the time. But I do find Skinwalker Ranch itself very, very interesting, because at very least, before the current owners of the TV show, it was still very, very notorious throughout the years there, and it was owned by Robert Bigelow, defense contractor, who got a government contract to look into how weird it is, basically. So definitely there is something going on the ranch, so I don't doubt that they're having some things. The few episodes I've seen, it is interesting. I'm always a little bit not skeptical, but anything that has a production deadline, that I'm always like, there are not just, it's not that they'll be manipulating things, but you might arrange the order, or you might be, I think this is where they're going to be most guilty of, is getting excited about things that aren't necessarily that exciting because they need to fill out an episode, if that makes sense. I think that might be probably the worst bit that they're doing with it. But the phenomena, the fact that they're experiencing it, the fact that private individuals are putting in money to do it, I think is an amazing thing that I do need to actually pull my finger out and watch it there. It's doing your nutting, yeah. They're just teasing things out. I need a galvanized button for every time you say it. Sorry. Where are we? I've got a Discord notice where you've been told off on Discord. Oh, there. Oh, Quatermass in the Pit. Yes, there we go, Trevor. Bang on, yeah. You got Quatermass in the Pit, and then there's another couple of them. I did watch a deep dive the other day of why they haven't been remade. They're not suitable for the world. It's a very British film or something. But they're one of the few films that I watched when I was younger, and it kind of unsettled me. And it wasn't because the monsters were so horrendously scary, or the blood and the gore was particularly. It was a bit of a psychological one, and it sat with me. Same as Belfast there, Proxy War, we can't stop our rubbish, ex-Navy in 91, and after the short summer of love, 17, I was away HMS Rayleigh just before land invasion was over. Wow. So exactly, I think, we don't learn, to degrees. I mean, maybe a bit, but yeah, I'd totally agree with that one, Alan. And Quatermass series scared me to death as a kid. Oh, yeah, exactly. And I watched it at some point there. When did I watch it? I must have been like 11 or 12. I was in secondary school, but only just, I think. And it kind of sat with me. I think it was in the pit. And Paul there, sorry if I sound weird, but I think most of the alien stuff is demonic there. And some of the abduction cases are cruel and sadistic there. And occasional angels, but spiritual warfare going on out there. Paul, no, it doesn't sound weird at all. And this is something that we do actually have to include more of. Even if we're not particularly religious ourselves, it is still incredibly, incredibly relevant to the modern day UFO ufology, and all of the looking into it there, because there are so clear overlaps of what could be going on, there, and that could involve those sorts of things. Now, personally, I think, I've said that where I lean at the minute is probably various different cultural interpretations all talking about the same sort of thing. But that, again, is based on my ignorance and my lack of detailed knowledge around everything there. So it might well be the case that one particular one, whether it is the religious explanation there or it is the modern day little green men in metal spaceships flying around, maybe one of them is more, or maybe it's 5% this, 10% that. I don't think we can write it off there, and I think we have to look more into it. I'm glad it's getting a bit more of attention, those sorts of things. I definitely think it's misrepresented a lot in the media, though. And I think there's some intelligence stemming the flow. There's got to be, hasn't there? The problem is, that's not the right phrase for that at all. When we do our deep dives, we look into all of the leaked documents, whistleblower accounts, all that sort of stuff related to the phenomena. There are a hell of a lot of declassified reports and studies, whether it's the US in the 50s, or us more recently. There are lots of, and they all, it's like nobody has bothered to read them, because they all say the same thing, which is, yes, there is something going on. We need to look more at this area, or this areas of interest and stuff like that. Like, it's out there. Not conclusions fully, but definitely the stigma that's around it does not match up with what the official documents say. In fact, one of the best ones, it was the Condon report, and it was funded by the US Air Force, I think in the 50s, in the Air Force in the 50s. It was meant to be an independent study into the phenomena. They funded many professors and scientists to basically go out and get evidence, have experiences, and follow up as quickly as possible with sightings that are reported there, and kind of have an unbiased, objective look at what was going on in the phenomena. Now, it's since come out that because there were letters released from the head of the Air Force at the time, basically saying, we don't want to pay for Project Blue Book anymore. Can you do this report that says there's nothing to it? So we now know there was thumbs on the scales, and people did speculate at the time. But if you actually read the report they come out with, you read the case studies, their methodology, all of the individual conclusions, it still says there is something strange here. There is something really weird going on. It needs to be looked at a lot more. But then the one-page summary it's like it's for a different report. It goes, yeah, we didn't find anything. Nothing was even of interest there. It's all explained away. Literally not what it was saying in the document there. Not even through individual interpretation. Literally in the document, like the summary page was not associated for that. But the press just read the summary. And these things have been out there for years. So we know that there's manipulation. Again, what's the one that we watched? The Robertson panel was another CIA report looking into the phenomena. And that was a more recent one we did. And the conclusion of that was, again, there's definitely something here. It doesn't look to be a threat to national security at the moment, but we really should be looking into this and we should be paying more attention to it. But the conclusion was that we cannot let the public think that there's something to this, because it would be too good an opportunity for the Russians to basically cause a UFO panic and then clog all of the reporting systems and totally collapse America for a brief period, at which point that would be a good window for the Russians to attack, which Starlink was actually looking at. It was really interesting. So the reports are clear. The intelligence said, look, we're going to purposely put in a disinformation campaign here so the public aren't susceptible to hoaxes and hysteria. But on the other hand, there is something to it there. But he's 10 out of 10 on steroids. I do need to do. A few of you guys have mentioned that one so many times there. Probably a bit higher in assault, but my salt levels are perfect from the last test, despite that drop in kidney function. Really? Well, hopefully that's an indicator as well, Kate, that it's just going to be the heat, especially, kidneys in the heat and stuff. You treat yourself to a salty bargee. There, the pulled pork roast today. Trevor's perpetual roast. Do you live in a harvester? Always got the rotisserie chickens just going on there as a Toby Carvery. And we'll be live on the 12th, Lucy. We will be in the evening, yeah. So we're probably not going to do the actual eclipse itself, but we will be in for the meteor shower and stuff as soon as it gets dark there. Oh, is it on Prime? Bang on. Right, I'll check that one out then. 35 to 45 minutes. Lucy, if you're lucky. We do next day delivery. Well, actually, how far are we behind? 39. Oh, we're 8 minutes behind. That's not too bad. The 12th is going to be an interesting cast, but you've got the planetary alignment as well there. And is it Demps? There, I was out last night and never saw anything. Well, might be looking in the wrong place. But keep an eye. You'll see some stuff if you hang around long enough with us here. Again, it's not every night. Most of the stuff that's up there is going to be man-made, isn't it? It's just a statistical game. But if we pay attention, if we look closely, and look, this one's not being tracked.
Zoom mode activated.
We're going to see objects like this. There you go, just come off the screen there. But we're going to see them stop dead, short off at speed, and change their course or trajectory. And that will tell us for sure that they are something more anomalous. And then a white hole would be a neutron star. So not actually a neutron star. Neutron stars are to do with when stars collapse and stuff. That's, at the end of their life in a certain circumstance there. No, white holes are just basically the theorized reverse of the black hole, exploding outwards. Correct there, Trevor. And Chris, I'm a fan of inflation and multiverse theory. I don't know how I feel on the multiverse. Not that I think it's wrong. But I feel like it's expensive. And what we do know so far, very limited about the universe, is that it does like to save time and resources. So I feel like I think there could be something going on, but I don't necessarily think it's the branching off of every decision of the multiverse. It might be more like that it's always already there, and we kind of navigate the branches, our direction through it. I could lean like that way, I think. But, I mean, ultimately, we have so little. We're trying to piece together a 2-hour feature film with about 3 individual cells of the whole reel, So it's there. And hopefully we will be, but yeah, probably not for the thing there. And our Blue Nose, how are we doing, Captain? Sorry, we're not on TikTok tonight.
Nom, nom, nom.
Thank you for feeding Alan.
Guys.
Yeah, it was causing too many problems with the camera feed, so we had to sacrifice it. How the devil are you? We'll never know, possibly. Grimmage there in Cornwall. I'm so very excited to be watching it from home. Oh, Cornwall is absolutely fantastic. I can imagine actually a pride place for the old eclipse, actually. There. And Skylab there. Hello, just sub there with both channels on your channel. Oh, thank you. Let's see. Let me see what you got there. How are you doing, Skylab? Love the name there as well. Good to have you in. Where in the world are you joining us from? The looks like our tracker has given up. Look at the lag on that line. That tells you that it is. Let me stop it for a while and let's see if it can recover itself. Oh yeah, that's really lagging. I've got to do some more. No, I said stop. To try it. See, look how smooth the line moves when it's not, so that if it's having trouble processing these skies. Yeah, it might just be to the atmosphere, but so we're going to have to do it manually, guys. We're going back to it.
Activated.
Call out the grid references of where these objects are that you see in the chat, and it should illuminate the boxes. If you do the box you think it's going to be in, then the lag, it should work itself out. But look at the colours on some of these. Look at the oranges, the purples there. Absolutely stunning. But we're coming to you live tonight, guys, from Wiltshire here in the UK, which is right in the heart of crop circle country and just down the road from Stone Henge. So a long history of the strange and anomalous. Do say hello, let us know where you're watching from, and make sure you're following or subscribed, because we're on pretty much every night. A lot of clear skies here at the minute because of the heat wave, so let's make the most of that one. Proxy warfare is more evil. I mean, there has actually been an interesting twist since the. I don't know if I'd say it's more evil. I think war's just pretty savage either way. It might be. I haven't really thought about it. But the post-Second World War, we made direct warfare as we used to do it, didn't we? A little bit harder. So that's when you kind of get a lot more of these proxy wars. You get the CIA trying to overthrow governments. We're still just dickheads, but we changed slightly the way we do it, so it wasn't as obvious. So maybe it is a bit more evil in that sense there. And Gandalf, how are we doing tonight? Skinwalker Ranch is on par with Ancient Aliens there. It's okay viewing after the pub at late night. Grandmaster, yeah, probably quite right. And it's fine. Look, entertainment is a very, very useful tool. I understand why people go, it's not as serious as what I want to do, for me, and that's fine as individuals. But you've got to remember, there's a lot of people that are just not as into it as us yet. They're just doing their day-to-day life. They don't really care. They maybe haven't got time. And entertainment is a very low commitment way of opening somebody up to new things, so they still have a value. And our conscious minds can create karma there, but the divisions is what is topping us to fulfill it. There is a plan to exterminate us, and all, and another will rule. I've heard about something like that. I don't know with those ones. I think people do plan these things all of the time, but I don't know. And Hatchie, how are you doing there? And I love Quatermass in the pit there. The concept was great, and the apocalypse vibe was very cool. I might have to rewatch it still, see if it still kind of creeps me out there. Studio Canal app on Prime has original Doctor Who and the Daleks remastered. And I was abducted when I was about 10, 11. Dempsey, is that true? If you tell us more, because we do not get a lot of people share abduction accounts, and possibly because they're very personal experiences, I'd imagine might be the reason why. But yeah, we get lots of people, sharing, and we love it. All their sightings and those sorts of experiences. But it's very rare for an abduction. So if you want to share us more, we'd love to hear about that one there. Where's your like game at tubers? Exactly, Kate. Slacking. If you do choose to give us a like, guys, do appreciate it. That little proper like at the top there really does help us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves. And the more eyes and minds we get on the old phenomena, so the more we can all piece this puzzle together. And Grandmaster, I wonder if aliens ever have arguments over who they abduct there. Say, you got the wrong one. God, could you imagine? Go get yourself a good Earth specimen. The poor fucker grabs me, the overweight, mostly nicotine and caffeine related. What the hell is this? I've just analysed his blood, and it seems like they're mostly caffeine. You've got the wrong one. And Alan there has Quatermass Pit on it. Also, excellent there. The old Ealing comedies, great cure for the blues. I think you're right there, Alan. There is something about, they talk about this with kids' TV show, so that they're so highly stimulating now, because that's what gets the kids to respond, that it just burns out our nervous system a little bit. We're not designed to be this stimulated all of the time. It's like having sugar constantly putting your state up. And somebody, who was it? They did an experiment. They basically cut off all the modern day kids TV shows for their toddlers, and they put them on 90s TV shows. And they calmed like down like massive. They just would have like that. You know, it took a couple of weeks to adjust and, you know, telling me, well, I want to see this, this, and this. But it would not surprise me. I've got some friends who the kid gets no screen time. Like very, very, very rarely. Like it's books and all that sort of stuff. Not out of a point, but just because they're not particularly big on their phones either, and they don't have a TV. And I tell you what, the kid is. It's the most well-behaved, temperamental kid out of all that I've seen out of everybody that I know has had kids. Again, it's not a very good data point there, but you do think that, you know, what's that doing to us as adults? You know, constantly seeing all these high stimulation things all of the time, 24/7, and we're all going, God, we're all burnt out. There could be a connection to that one there. The Grandmaster, the what report? The Condon. It's an N, but everyone, as you can imagine, calls it the Condon report. But there's a few. There's the Condon report. There's the Condine report. Lots of cons. I think there's another one that's similar as well. Jack Peter Sellers at his greatest. Yep. And Stacey, can I ask what you're using to be able to do this? So it's a good camera, basically, like a modern digital camera there with a good lens letting the light, and then all of when the tracker is working and all the grid stuff, that's bits that we're making ourselves there to try and aid in the hunt for doing it. It's not actually that hard. It's just about getting like the right camera, letting in the right amount of lens, and then constantly tweaking. Oh, we've got an orange flasher. We've got an orange flasher. Look at that one. Oh, look, it's coming out. It's slightly orange. So that object right there, guys. Whatever it may be it man-made, be it ET, we don't know, because it's not giving us any information really, other than it is moving and it looks to be reflecting that light back. But what is happening is whatever that object is it's flashing. See how that catches the light and then no flash. Flash, no flash. So that object is doing that as it tumbles. Now, man-made satellites can tumble and rotate like that, but it's normally at the end of their life, because modern satellites are mostly designed to point in one direction. So if you imagine you've got a spy satellite, or this, the camera, the lens, it's pointing down to the Earth as it's going around there like that. It's going to be very similar light profile as it's in orbit there, right? If it's tumbling, that camera lens isn't pointing in the right direction. Same with the Starlink, their dish isn't in the right way. So it can be a little bit indicate that it's at the end of its life. Again, it's not slam dunk anomalous, but do pay more attention to it there. The infamous report there. And Sam should come to mind. I live on a cliff, and you can see 4 miles extremely active. Oh, Jedi. Where in the world were you again? You have said, but I'm starting to lose my brain. We might have to do it. We're getting very close with our on-the-road rig, guys. Oh, down to C4. Oh, yeah, just there. Good spotting, guys. That one down there. We're getting really, really close. I was testing it today, so we're going to be able to do some really, really, really cool things with our on-location stuff. So exciting there. And is this our Rendlesham Common he's on about? Which one was we on about? That is where we're going to be doing our first on-location tour. That we're going to Rendlesham Forest there. And that is where we're going to do our first tour location. The Grey Wombles. I mean, Wimbledon Common. Oh, the Grey Wombles Register. I like that, Grandmaster. As well. How do I reply to comments you'll have to? I don't know. We had this conversation the other day. I have no idea how that works on YouTube. I have no idea. I thought it was the app, but it didn't work for me. And what about the UFOs 40 miles from in the Highlands? A Harrier jet and a UFO in a proven untampered image from the 70s, 80s. So that is the Calvine image, isn't it? And it's so clear. It's so clear, and it's a real image. It's not been screwed with. If you've not seen it, guys, go have a look. The Calvine image. It is brilliant, right? It's a proper diamond grey shaped craft. You know, guys were taking it, you know, and they got a little bit of the fence in the shot. Two guys, I think they were chefs from a local hotel, off on a day off, going for a walk, you know, in the country, and they snapped it. And yeah, they've got this clear as day picture, but also with a Harrier jet buzzing it right by it. So it's one of the clearest, most awesome ones. We are going to go there for our UFO Skywatch as well on our tour. That is one of our destinations. Good use of the grid, guys. There's a faint one there and one there. Look at the colours on some of these tonight. Absolutely awesome to see. A lot of atmosphere though, a lot of haze. Look how purple Vega is. Absolutely stunning. 26 light years from us there at Vega. But yeah, Calvine's great. I've heard some interesting theories either which way about it, and nothing is conclusive, obviously. So I still hold it open as a very, very interesting account. But somebody did say that basically, and this is true, that the Harrier jet that is in that image is apparently not a military one. Right, it's actually for the manufacturer that made them, which was British Aerospace. So it's actually one of two of the ones that they had on hand to test things. Then when they'd go, right, okay, we've got this repair part, or we're going to upgrade the radar, they put it on their test craft, fly it around and test it there. So that could be an indicator of what's going on there. So, and there are theorized, again, they haven't been, you know, widely accepted, but they are though certain basically radar target, massive big metal, not metal, I think they're weird aero foam or something like that, floating radar targets, which would make sense that the test aircraft was interacting with that as part of some sort of testing or something along those lines. So there's a plausibility to that to me, but I still hold it very much open as one of the best images there. And dude, after World War II there, we wanted to nuke Russia. We did, yeah. And the ex-Dundee MP Churchill created the fear and the Cold War with his speech appeasing his masters. So we didn't actually. We've always been quite balanced on those ones there, because we could have. This is, remember, the end of the World War II, there was about 3 years whilst the US was the only nuclear power. And they did not nuke Russia. There were various generals within it that did want to, but they didn't. That, you know, it wasn't a case of, well, we've just won the war, we've got all this military, we can do. They chose not to there, which isn't actually, you know, that's not that common. That is not that common. Now, they do express their power in other ways, you know, but again, it was voluntary to the degrees there. But, you know, it's not just us. The Russians are always trying to do shit like that, you know. Then we're not innocent, but neither are the other side as well with these things, you know. So we can work on ourselves, but it's the whole thing as a culture for it. And so it sounded like you are going to say a salty snack. Going to get us in trouble. Yeah. Where are we? Down here. Where are we? Down there. Blue Nose. I'll just get into your messages now. I didn't realise I was so far behind. I'll talk there, yeah. And what is a black hole there? If it is not a dense gravitational unit of mass. Well, I think that's basically what it is, isn't it? It is an infinitely dense measure of mass there. And we call the black hole, don't we? We tend to refer of it as it's almost ethereal, because basically there is this line when you get close enough to it where you can't come back from, because the gravity's so strong, hence why light doesn't leave from past that point. But that isn't a solid object, you know, like the gravity from that is, you know, the actual, you think of how massive these black holes are, but also what they're condensing matter down to is an infinitely dense point. There's no solid hot thing there like a planet, you know. So you can word it in that sort of way, but they are weird. But again, we don't fully know. This is what the maths say. That is our leading understanding of all these things. But there are people that do have other ideas around it that can test the understandings there. And again, we can't directly measure a black hole, because nothing other than Hawking radiation escapes them, basically. You can't image a black hole directly because it's not emitting light. You can only take a picture of the circle of no light, and that technically isn't the black hole, you know. It's so strange, isn't there? Oh, it's the nexus of when two dark stars collapse into one another. I never remember, because you've got magnetars, pulsars, neutron stars, and I barely remember the gist of them there. Skylab was that channel I told you about weeks ago. Oh, Lethal, excellent. Oh, good to have them in. And is it Tina there? Hello from Oklahoma. Good to have you in. How are the skies of Oklahoma tonight? Have you seen anything strange in them? Guys, I'm a few minutes behind in the chat. I am 7 minutes behind the chat, but I want to read all your messages, so it will take me a second to get to you. But do say hello. Let us know where you're watching from tonight there. Ask away any questions that you may have there. A thought experiment from Hawking, where universes were like bubbles coming up from clear fluid there, constant bubbles. I could go with something like that. I could go with that. And one where thing is there, wonder, one or Thor. Well, not sure on that one. It's definitely not a dream or a vivid. For that, I didn't feel scared. I don't know why. Quite strange. I can still picture it. I missed the first part of that, Jedi. Let me have a look. Oh, no, there you go. You're talking to Lucy there. And I remember. Oh, wow. I mean, I won't read it out because you're talking to Lucy there, but if you do want to put it in for me, I'll be happy to there. That's very interesting, though, because, again, we don't get a lot of people talking along those lines. Where are we? Down here. James, hitting the hay. We'll catch you later. We'll be on tomorrow night there. Have a good rest. Flasher in a D4, not moving. Oh, D4. I know I'm going to be far behind, but let's see if we can spot that one. That is right the way down here. Got some twinkling going on, but I'll keep an eye on it, see if we can get the flashing. And it's cocaine for the membrane. And Alan, yeah. Like, honestly, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You're so glad not a kid nowadays. Like, I don't have kids. It is something I'm thinking about, but probably left it too late. Look at this. Like, the only constellation there, guys, that does what it says in the tin, like the coat hanger constellation. Not a musical note, Kate. But, yeah, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Because if you give your kids your phones, and I understand why people do, then you run this risk of, over stimulation there, and we see the results of that. But if you don't, then that kid is not experiencing the same things as his or her peers, which will technically put them behind when they get to a certain age there. If all the kids are watching all of the latest whatever it is Bluey episodes, I don't know, like that, then your kid's going to be behind. They're not going to see the same things, they're not going to see the same amount, they're not going to have the same digital confidence with devices to the same degree necessarily as their peers. So, like, yeah, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Wow, good use of the grid, guys, for lighting up the board there. I'm going to see if I try the tracker, see if it wants to. Is it going to work again? Or no, it's still lagging. All right, I'm going to. Hold on, let me restart it. You'll go black. There we go. Let me restart the tracker, and it might refresh it because I have a feeling that it is kind of trying to trip itself up. There we go. It's a little bit better. See if it can get some locks now. It's not as laggy. There we go. Oh, wow. Fucking hell. Look, I did not realise there was that many on screen. Jesus. 11, 12. Oh, 11. I might beat our number there. Oh, it's lost a few of them because they are quite faint, some of them. Let me turn up the brightness, give it a hand a little bit there. Anyway, yeah, so you're damned if you do, damned if you don't there. Don't act feral in public, and that's what matters. Have you seen us in the Night Garden? It used to be my daughter's favourite thing to watch there. Whoever thought of it must have been off the center of the tits. Well, I was just before that. I wasn't a Teletubbies kid, but I remember that at the time that everyone was saying that sort of stuff about that, and it could be true, but it just obviously wasn't anywhere near as effective as that. And like, we're just constantly kind of building up, aren't we, overstimulating them. So they do the big head, small face. What's that? Hey, Roscoe, how you doing there? We're all good. Me and the wife just saw something weird in the sky off of Sandbanks Beach on our evening walk. It looked like a light coloured smudge across the sky, moving incredibly fast. Ooh, now that is interesting there. The smudge part of that as well, that's implying refraction from the light there rather than, you're just seeing a reflected. Interesting. Was it like a white light or was there any coloration to it? Like that one. Thank you for the report on the ground there. A good spot in there, Willow and Jedi. Trump's flashing. The spy satellite coffee. Could be. It could be. Big panels for its solar orbit. Oh, it's for its polar orbit. You could imagine that, but I would. The big. I mean, if it's flashing, and it's definitely not slam dunk anomalous. It's interesting, but it's not anomalous either way. But yeah, I'm thinking if it's going to be polar orbit. I mean, we're pointing. What direction would they be going for that from us here? But yeah, I mean, if it's passing over like that, it's still going to look. I mean, it'll be bright, but it's going to be consistent, isn't it? It might peak into the middle there. I forget what it's called. So it has a wide degree view of longer before it orbits. There makes sense. Definitely definitely an alien. I name it a Toby. Toby and. But he's going more than welcome. I'm right by the sea on the south coast there, sat in my garden watching them. It's awesome. We'll have to do it. I used to drive. I'm not allowed to for medical reasons now, which is very, very frustrating. And I should shit you not. If I was driving, if I can get it sorted, then we'd be different places every night. This is how you reply. So it does work with the app. It didn't work with me. Let me try it. I'm going to log in on my own thing. I'll have to go because. Maybe I was just being... I'm at that point now with technology, guys, where I'm like stabbing away like an old person. It reminds me of showing my mum how to do things. Let's have a look. Can I add... No, it's not... No, it's not letting me do it. It's weird. Yes, Lucy, I am live on the 12th. I won't be for the actual eclipse, but in the evening we'll be there. Oh, Calvin Allender. I will totally forget that one. There's a few places I just have belligerent arguments with people about. Is it Keynsham, just outside of Bristol? It's Keynsham. Fuck off. Spell it right. And we've got, is it Frome? Is next to us here in Wiltshire. It's Frome. You spelled it Frome. Did you see Jack Valet on Joe Rogan there? He tried convincing Joe Rogan a shield on a coin was a UFO, and Joe had to politely call him on his BS. But Jack Valet, I normally like Jack Valet for those. Is it a recent one? I know that there was. He did one ages ago. I'll have to. Was it the old one? When it was in the red tunnely studio, or was it? Is there a new one? Because that'd be cool if there's a new one. I have to have a look out for that. But yeah, the picture was blocked with a D-notice. The day record. Oh, that's very true, isn't it? But I suppose that would account, wouldn't it? A D-notice as well, because military technology that's still secret. You know, you could argue, but it was. Yeah, didn't they have it on the wall? Old who passed away recently? Was it Nick Pope? When he was doing it there. In Perth was the repair base. I didn't know that. Just look at the F-22 Raptor there. What we could make if we put more money into space. Who was it the other day that was saying, I don't know if it was the F-22, one of the modern, it's basically saying it was a space plane as well. You know, one of these fast is capable of going into space, and they're training people in Space Force for it. I'm like, they did say it included some UFO technology, reverse engineered technology, but I'm like, it's going to have to include some proper UFO technology to be able to capable to do that one. I think it's closed now, but it was doing repair work on Helios. To the mid, in helicopters to the mid 2000s. It would make sense. And Logic Lurker there, craziest thing I've ever seen in the skies of Scotland. Above Faz Lanes. That's the nuclear weapons sort of store in the submarine base there, isn't it? Where they do say, isn't it, that there is a real connection between these craft, or whatever they may be, the phenomena, and nuclear weapons, nuclear storage, nuclear mining, energy, you name it, basically. Describe it, Logic. I want to hear more about it there. And Will of the Wisp, good use of the grid spot in there. Like a satellite, exactly there. Emilio, how are you doing there? And Almond Bank, I worked for a company that serviced a lot of the folk there in the 90s and didn't know what it was all about till it closed. Interesting. Almond Bank, I've not heard of Almond Bank there. What sort of thing do you think they were working on, or is it just totally top secret there? Almond Bank, I forgot you can't post the link. That's what that was for. Yeah, no, it's not working there. So, thank you, Alan, appreciate that. And Tina there, is it 5:05 p.m, clear blue skies, and 102 degrees. Oh my god, 102 degrees. We got it in this room up to 104 degrees. That was the peak this year. Absolutely killer. Absolutely killer. And I thought we had a big house in the country. What was that one for? I can't remember now what that before. Yes, was hovering over, flashing for about 5 minutes, and then a blink over Greenock. There was a minute there, passed over Dunoon, and appeared back above. Also, the movement. Any coloration to it as well? That is interesting. And I think that is why Bonnie Bridge has sightings there, just 5 miles. It is there, the naval nukes. So that would make perfect sense for it, wouldn't it? You know, again, long history of that. Apparently, though, they go in phases, the Americans. I don't know how true it is, but somebody was saying that there appears to be the case that, you know, there's a new nuclear facility. They'll be there intensively for 6 months of sightings, and then they kind of get bored and go off until there's a major change, and they kind of, you know, it's like they're interested in something new, and then they go away, apparently. But we do it with the nuclear stuff. We have to be careful because, as well, it's that observation bias sort of thing there, you know, that basically there are more security guards around. More security guards, more cameras, more monitoring around those highly secure sites. So you're going to see, there's more observers to see something strange. But one of the reports we did look at actually kind of did the maths on that, and they basically said, no, there are still disproportionately high, massively disproportionately high sightings around nuclear facilities, including, you know, taking into account for all that stuff. Oh, Leanne, no, not TikTok tonight. It was having a sulk, sadly. There. How is your hen do going? Public knowledge there. Any spooks watching me there? Puts tinfoil hat on again. But to be honest, official secrets acts I've signed twice in my life there, and it never ends. No, you're right there. You do have to be careful with stuff there. But you've seen some interesting things there, Alan. And I'll got to go dance there, Leah. Tina there, can you map the constellations? We are working on it, and that's probably why the tracker is still actually having issues at the minute. We're adding too many features, I think. But we are trying to get it to recognise what stars are in shot. Once we can do that, then we can do the label them and get the constellations. But then we'll also be able to label the satellites with the known man-made satellites that are flying around up there. Where do we get to? How high would you need to be to visit the aliens? Well, funny you say that, Logic, because high in altitude or high in other senses there, because DMT, it does look like a way that you are contacting potentially some other beings, not just in your head. Seems to be a whole other world, and I wasn't on board with that for a while, but I've heard some very interesting things about it lately. And look, Lemon, there's all sorts of things around about Fastlane there. A blue light as well. Interesting. Well, that is definitely Bonnie Bridge is on our Skywatch list, so we're going to be nearby. Passing your device over to the ferals. Yeah, the old man's the same as that, and I get text messages of just like random letters, and then the odd picture of a child playing Lego taken by the other child. And Logic there, yeah, been some weird stuff in my lifetime for sure there. I grew up in Dunoon there. So that is all in that area. And Mike there, I've got pics and videos of crazy phenomena that you could show. They are not edited, and I can say some true stories I've seen to the world and entities. I have recordings of the last encounter. Mike, I'd love to see more of those. We've got a really cool Discord, and that's a great place to post them. I think you can only do short videos, but definitely images and like your accounts, your personal experiences around that. The link in bio there. I've got a personal experiences section where all of you guys are sharing your experience with the phenomena. You can read through, you can add to yours there, but that way they don't just disappear after the stream with whoever's in. The whole community gets to see them there, so we'd love to see them over on there. You don't visit aliens, they visit you at the minute. Yeah. How many are you getting there, Lethal? And Rav, no swearing. Fully digital, I'm sure, mate. Yeah, would love to see them there. Shooting star, I missed it. Damn. Mount Etna's erupted. No, I didn't know. Oh, geez, is it a big one or a little one? I know Mount Etna wasn't that as a big. It's in the US, isn't it? Didn't they have as a real issue with that in the 80s, 70s? I want to say. Scotland has had its old ancient Pictish history hidden. We're as old as Egypt there. I wouldn't be surprised. Right? When were the old glaciers around there? Because, it's a very old, very ancient. You've got, guys, over in Scotland, which I think are one of the most fascinating things, the glass castles that you guys have. These old fortifications that are vitrified as if they've been exposed to vast heat. That is a really interesting mystery for me. I wonder how old they really are there. Says, I'm going to get you banned on TikTok. Destroyed by the Christians after the conquests of the savages. It's humanity in it there. I mean, look at what they did in Afghanistan and Iraq there now. Post-war, all of the old Buddhist statues in the mountains that have been blown up. All of the old Roman cities, the remains there have been destroyed. It's a crime in it, but humans do it. The fact our pagan history is more relevant than our Christian history. I don't know. I think they're both relevant. Like, I think we've had this issue of, we always throw out the older stuff. Like, we do it in modern era as well. Look, think of how we are with our science now, how we treat science. Oh, well, now we have science, guys. We don't need any of that other stuff. All of that sort of jazz. So, we go, oh, this is the new thing. We don't need the old stuff. And I think that is a big, big, big mistake for it there, across the board there. When's the wedding? Okay. I haven't figured it out yet. I can't afford it. Thanks for discussing that. First time viewer here. Thank you, Logic. I appreciate you out there. Definitely appreciate it there. Oh, when me and Pete getting married? What? He might like that, but not me. And cards, what would you say is your most unusual encounter? Me and my mum saw a POW, almost skinwalker-like thing that made her break the car back in 2017. And I'm interested in alien or paranormal. Yeah, same here, the paranormal as well. Definitely interested in that. And I'd had some spookier experiences, but I'd never had a UFO one. That was, again, part of the impetus for doing this, was like, can we see? We're in this hotspot. Can I see something for once? And we have seen some things. Mostly it is the lights in the sky. On the UFO front, the thing that I've seen that was the weirdest, excuse me, was when we did our, was it the last on location up the old Iron Age hill forts? There was a light that at the time looked like it was on the hill, the top of the hill with us. So when you're up there, it's quite flat. Great commanding views around. You can see all the lights in the distance, people's houses, their cars. You can see cars cresting over the hill and see, you know, the big flash of their lights. You can see, street lights coming on, planes as well in the distance. You see the military helicopters flying by because you're right next to the ranges. So you kind of get a feel for what's there. But this light was just bigger and brighter, and I thought it was on the hill with us, and I immediately, my gut told me, oh, it was a dog walking on one of those LED headlamps, and it was, as he was walking, that's why the movement was coming sort of like this. And I thought, oh, it's coming straight for us, or it looks like it is. Makes sense. We're sitting there, we've got all of our camera up and a little table with a laptop on it. We must look like right plums. He's probably curious to see what's going on. So I kind of had it out of the corner of my eye, just if he comes by, we'll say hello. And then I kept looking back, and he had gone. I thought, oh, maybe he just disappeared, fine. Then it came back in the same place again, coming towards us again. And I think it did it 2 or 3 times. And the direction that it was coming from, that is literally, you know, hill fort and then military ranges off for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. You're totally just open agricultural land and training areas. There is one little workshop that is kind of in that area. So in some ways there could have been an incredibly bright security light that was on the gate there, but why didn't we see it any other time we've been there and setting up in the same place? You know, like it felt like it was moving, and you know, you can't say, but that was weird because it was kind of close to us. It's weird there. The rest of the stuff, again, it's all the anomalous movements and the things that we're seeing here, but because I'm watching it on a screen, it feels a little bit detached. So the Skinwalker is pretty, well, that sort of saying is pretty good. I don't think I've had anything that close. I'll tell you my spooky one. Oh, I've got a prop. I need to fill off the chair. Right. So, me being a weird child, obviously incredibly messy. My room as a child, just toys all over the floors. They're much to my parents' dismay. And one of my weird toys was one of these. It's on these little date stamps that you get, you know, either a library, you know, your old ink stamp, showing the date like that. I had one of them as a child, I'm not sure why, but hence all the other crap I have in this room. That hasn't changed in me liking weird stuff. Anyway, I'm playing, I don't know, whatever it was on my own. Only child up there, parents downstairs watching TV. And as I'm playing there, this floats up at this sort of speed, a couple of foot off the ground, stops, and I'm looking at it, and it floats across the room to the other side of the room, right? Kind of, and then lowers itself down. Just that's it. So either I'm hallucinating or something clearly paranormal went on there. And I remember me going like that with it, and I put an umbrella. I picked the thing up, but I thought, because I want to go downstairs and tell my parents, and I put an umbrella to mark the spot where it landed on the ground. And I picked the thing up, marked it, went downstairs and told my parents, I went, yeah, bollocks it is. But eventually I got one of them to come upstairs, upset at me, and I pointed it out. And I remember telling that story consistently, and I remember it all the time. Now, memory is fallible, but I've got no memory of life, no memory of it changing, and surely I would have made up something a little bit more exciting about it there. But that was the first one. Yeah, it's a weird one. Grid is delayed tonight. What is the delay settings? Let's make sure we're not doing it. It's on as low as possible. And I find it funny how you speak of the siblings, but reckon you've left it too late for your own. Well, the sibling, yeah, I probably have left it too late. He's all right. The old man's, you know, he's got enough for all of us. Evening, SK. How are you doing? Having a beer and sound random, but I consider just sharing relevant things, brother, and pick on the Discord just shows how happy I looked in the Navy. Oh, excellent, Alan. I appreciate that. And this is the thing. all different opinions and all of the different little fragments of knowledge. That is what we need, I think, across the board. Andrew, how are we doing there? Nuclear power reactors are a hotspot for UFOs. Anywhere nuclear weapons are being stored, it's a hotspot. Yeah, but nuclear mining, nuclear energy, anything nuclear. And somebody said, if say the plasmoids, the idea that plasma could be a sentient life form in of itself, if they, that maybe they're attracted to that. Maybe it's a food source. Maybe they can smell something that's, a food to them. That's why they go and have a look. And I don't know how I feel about it, but I thought it was interesting as a thought on it. But it would also make sense that intelligent beings would be like, what are they up to? What are they doing? Is this dangerous? As well, third time this year, one in Jan again and one in June, and now on Friday. What was that for? Early for totally out of forgetting where I am. And if you are going to conquer a nation, thereby control a carrot and not a stick, there you must hide the past for the new generation to only know the future. Very true, very true. You need to detach people from these things. I think it bites people in the arse, but you're totally right with that. A great version of this was I saw on TV recently for The Man in the High Castle. It's an Amazon Prime series, and it's an alternate, if you're not seeing it, it's an alternate reality, kind of like For All Mankind. It's if the Germans and the Japanese won World War II, and it's how they divided up the US afterwards, and the US living under occupation. And the Nazis in particular, they were doing that. They removed the history, and then all these generations were coming up as Nazis, so they didn't have the connection to the American values and so on. I thought it was very well done in that film as well there. One of the get out of the freeze there. Does Pete Bath the other side? Yes, he does, Raf. Yes, he does. I hope he's watching. And I was on an investigation in Sterling Old Town Jow a month ago. Was doing the Estes method. All lights / power were off, and the lights above my head turned on itself. And I have it on film too. Logic. Wouldn't it be cool if you could have a place your own that just dedicated to that as well? So when things like that come up, you can go, right, let's monitor this light. Does this do this any other time? Really go into the nuts and bolts on it. That is pretty cool. We did a stream once, about a year ago probably. It was doing a live Estes method, and it was quite fun to do it with you guys, getting you guys to call out what to ask, and Leanne was listening and doing the talking, totally isolated. But I have a no ghost in the house rule, so I didn't want to do it a second time in case I'm provoking something there. Vinny, how are you doing tonight? Yeah, Pete's missus might be against that. Abducted J-Dog, but never pro. Really, have you been abducted? Because I wonder why. Lots of people will share their UFO experience, but not many people will share the abduction experience. And probably I get it why it's personal, and maybe people get ridiculed a lot with it there. But it's definitely like on the lower end what people report. Oh, she is, yes. And trading cards as well there. Paranormal-wise, the weirdest experience I've had is in my nan's house, particularly on the second floor. Myself, my dad's fiance, and my dad had an experience only on that floor. Oh, I'd love to hear more about that one there. You're not giving us your full attention, Raf. And 2015, I watched a saucer for an hour and a half with my daughter. It would spend 20 minutes beneath the ocean and then 20 minutes skipping around the sky. A third fisherman saw it as well. Really interesting. This transmedium nature of craft comes up a lot now, but I didn't used to hear about it. I mean, there were reports, but they never got raised up. They never got the attention. And again, classic sources as well. Not something I've seen. I'd love to. Oh, Lucy, I feel that. You couldn't handle watching the fourth kind. Yeah, I'm quite squeamish. I am the result of curiosity killed the cat. I am the cat for this, because I long for the experience. I'm curious. I will get myself into all sorts of situations because I kind of just have to know. But we know it's not going to end well. Yeah, if we actually did get the saucer landing in front, the old ladder comes down, Alan comes out, greetings Earthlings, I'm going to be like shit scared there. Drove through a real forgotten town yesterday. Back road. What's left? Is it just mounds and things? Have a paranormal experience every day speaking to people there. Man, weird. Yeah, Logic, we are quite far. Because the chat is so... I have to read through them all. It always takes a while to get through them, basically. Actually, 5-10 minutes isn't too bad. Last night, it was half an hour behind, I think, at some points. And Carter, I really appreciate responding to every comment there. 1% YouTubers have respect. Oh, thank you for that. And I try. It's getting difficult. I think there's only ever been 2 streams where I didn't manage it. I did have to get ahead. But like YouTube or TikTok tells you that when you're how many messages behind. But we're building my own integrated chat now, so I can kind of manage it myself. So hopefully I'll put a little timer on there. But yeah, because people come in, they share all their experiences. They have really, really good questions. I don't want to miss anybody there. I think, you know, if it gets any bigger, we might struggle. You know, but I mean, 20 minutes isn't too bad for the diehards. But it really varies. It really varies. It's not necessarily how many people are in, it's how many people are chatting and stuff like that. But yeah, do try to make sure we catch everyone there. And Spencer from Germany, good to have you in. Have you seen anything strange on those guys? And Falklands is a really good drive. That is a the heavy town is Falkland. Oh, Falkland. I was thinking the Falklands. No, Falkland. Oh, okay. Hence why it's probably got its names there. And Gandalf, been yes, I have. I went there last year. Did the bus stay to it there. I do like Imber. Obviously, that's an older place. They are. Cope Hill Down is an interesting one there, but that was built from scratch. I'll catch you later, Janie, for those ones. And Foamy as well, just got back from the pub there. Me and John Lennon just had a pint there. Now that is an experience. Shooting star in C. Oh, minute. Okay, good spot in there. Where do we get down? Oh wow, I didn't even consider that as a possibility. It's my interview on Skinwalker Encounter if anyone's interested. Oh, I can't see the link. Bloody thing doesn't come up for me on here. What about Moon now? Oh, Spencer, good question. Oh, let's have a look. Where is the moon? I don't think it's going to be round for us at the minute. We do moon streams. Haven't done one in a while because it's a pain in the arse, but it also hasn't just been in the right position at the right times. But when we do, they look like that. We see all the craters, all the details, and talk about how weird the moon actually is and some of the strange things that we see there as well. We should have one coming up, imagine, over the next few weeks. It seems to be getting more into the right place there. Cohen, how are you doing? Where are you joining us from tonight there? Washed a cup for an hour in the sink. We all need hobbies. And Gareth there. I missed anything tonight? We've had a few nice shooting stars tonight, but I don't think we've had anything anomalous. I used to hate sleeping over. My nan's there. The front box room had a lurker in the corner. See, the house I grew up with was the... Oh, God, this chair. Was the worst place. I mean, it wasn't obvious, like, all of the time, but... I just never liked being alone there, especially in my room. There was always something to it. Now I checked out what was there, but it was part of a new town. It was in Basildon, and there basically wasn't anything there other than farms until that place was built for miles and miles and miles around. So it was a new build in the 80s, only family to have lived in the house at the time, and there wasn't even a stream nearby when I kind of looked on all the old maps and things like that. But yeah, because I couldn't really put it down to necessarily anything in particular, but I've not so much had it anywhere else that I've, or maybe if you've gone somewhere for one-off, but, never, like a nan's house or anything like that. And they've had a lot of houses. I think people are coming to realise that tinfoil hats were telling the truth the entire time. Have you noticed that the tinfoil hat was removed from the Wi-Fi? Oh, I hadn't noticed that, but Andrew, I think you're right. And obviously the tinfoil hat has been the visualisation, the representation of Nutter, hasn't it? But I think practically, it seems to be pretty much everything. Everything other than the flat earth so far that I can see seems to be there's some truth to it at the very least. There is some fire to that smoke, but even the tinfoil hat itself, I've started to see released documents that are actually talking about sending signals to people's brains there for CIA technology, certain people researching certain things related to that. So maybe the actual tinfoil hat itself might not have been as ridiculous as it first sounded. There, Mad Dog. You seen the Tic Tac? Oh, where was that? Tell us more on that one. Annie Jacobson's Area 51. Oh, and no, I saw her on... I think it's Annie Jacobson I saw on... Was she on Rogan? But I don't think I think it was the Danny Jones one of it. Was she the one talking about interviewing the guy who was basically there, and he said it wasn't aliens, it was the US doing experiments on humans to kind of look like aliens. Was that Annie Jacobson's one? Such a cool channel. Thank you, Logic. I appreciate you there. Hey, and it's only made cool by you guys. It's nature that puts on the show, and it's you guys that comes in with all the awesome experiences and the knowledge and the questions. It was incredible there. I want to do an investigation there. So I haven't really done any actual spooky official investigations that I can think of, but which is surprising because I'm really, really into that sort of thing. But curious around that sort of thing, I should say. Well, now, this winter, when we lose this run of good skies, obviously our B option, so we can still come on and have a chat every night, is the alien radio signal hunt there. And it's not for everyone. It's obviously not as stimulating. It's a right place, right time. Is our dish pointing at the right planet when they're sending us a signal. But it's a good excuse for us to get together and chat while still, getting evidence towards the phenomena. But I get a bit tired of doing 3 or 4 of those in a row. So we sometimes mix it up with a bit of gaming, which again we haven't done for a while, but I also want to use the winter to see if I can figure out something a little bit more on the spooky side, which again I know a lot of you guys are overlapping interests. It's not 100%, but hopefully we will be able to do some more spooky stuff, and so we just got a piece of kit that'll allow us to do that. So I just need, the real barrier is partly me not driving, but also finding locations that we can do like a clean test. I really need not an abandoned building. I need to know that there are no other humans there to set up cameras and tests and things like that. And mostly about the secret nuclear testing. But the Russians are the Russian Roswell theory. Wow. Yes. So that I did think was interesting, because it is noted, isn't it, that our old Starlink did like, the idea of using that. And it makes a lot of sense when you go back into the documents of the time, which we've read through in our deep dives. It does make sense of why they were so worried about the American public being concerned about UFOs and the effect that could have about the hysteria and the blocking up of the reporting system. So all their conclusions was, let's not let the public get scared by this sort of thing. We've got to downplay it, got to write it off because of those theories. So that, at the very least, puts it in there. I was just insane anti-Russian crap. She had government sources for her last 5 books. Yeah, well, I think you're right, and this is the thing, we come, don't we, from our point of view, and we're always biased to the other. So when it comes to places like Russia, China, we're always going to be exposed to more negativity around that. Oh, they're doing this wrong, they're all the nasty bit, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't say that they're not doing anything wrong, but we have to check ourselves that it isn't just our own propaganda that we've been brought up with there. It's awesome there, and logic there. Why do you think it is that spirits that have been contacted are all fairly recent history, and why are there no caveman ghosts? Just a thought there. Does the spirit dissipate? So I don't know, logic. This is one of the questions that I have. There does seem to be a connection. I think there's going to be multiple things, like with the UFO phenomena. There is going to be a psychological part to this as well, and I think there's going to be a big part to that. But the life after death question, isn't solved there. In fact, a lot of mainstream scientists now are going, it's probably not as literal as we thought, so there could be a lot of play around that. There's a few people in our chat that probably got a better idea. I'm thinking Carl in particular there, Kate as well. They're going to have these more experience with that side of things. I'm still very much trying to piece together what I think is a functional understanding of what could be going on. Vapist.
Anomalous object. Confirmed.
That's not you, Alan.
Nom nom nom, thanks.
Thank you for being Alan there. And Russians sent the Roswell craft with modified humans from World War II Nazis there. I mean, wasn't it the US that took all the Nazi scientists? Well, they didn't take all of them. I think it's quite a high ask. I like it as a theory. It sounds like a great book, doesn't it? And, maybe there's a degree of plausibility to it. But, flying any craft those sorts of distances for the Russians just after the Second World War like that is quite a big reach, I think. But yeah, no, they didn't take all of them. The Russians did exactly the same. They took a load of scientists as well. They were fighting amongst for the Russian scientists, the technology. So again, with this thing, we're all the same. We're all just dicks with it all. I think some houses are able to sustain more than others. Oh, do you think that's like could it be a location thing for that, or could it be like a raw materials thing? You know, like in some ways that, you know, certain metals are better conductors than other materials than others. Maybe there's, you know, certain layer, you know, they can hold the energy. And there are two kinds of abductions, to my knowledge. Aliens come from the 3D physical body containing the soul, and they also take the life essence without the body through a portal in the ceiling. Oh, Andrew, the portal in the ceiling, that was yourself, wasn't it? That was an interesting one. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. And basically, I had a thought that every house I'd ever lived in was haunted. And it turned out it was me that's haunted. Schizophrenia face man. Funny you talk about schizophrenia. I had an ex, obviously a very, very long time ago now, who was paranoid schizophrenic, and lovely person, still very good friends to this day. But you know, you saw how that illness affected her and her life, and it was, you know, very difficult at times for that. But there did seem to be something weird as well connected with that. I remember waking up, you know, at mine, she was staying over, and I had a half-deflated balloon in the corner, one of those large birthday balloons or something, on its last legs. And you know what they do with the pressures, they chain, they can float around, they can move on themselves. And I woke up one day, and she was sitting on the bed in one of these sort of, it's almost like a trance-like state she'd go into. Rarely, but, you know, it happened before. And in the dark, she was staring at the corner where the balloon was. And turned the light on, going, what's this now? And she was going left, and the balloon would float to the left. And she'd go, stop, and it would stop. She'd go right, and it would go back round to the right. And it went on for about 10 minutes, and I went, fuck this, I'm going to go wake my parents up. I don't know what the fuck went on there. Where did Vega go? So Vega is still on the screen, just about. It's there. It's gone out the centre of the lens, so we don't get activated. As purple. We should spin the camera around. But look, a little bit of blue there still. A little bit of blue. And Kate's well, Nan's house is where I used to see my Nan's dog from when she was... Yes, you said about that. One light is blinking every time on the same place there. Spencer, what grid is it? Whereabouts? So we'll see if we can zoom in on it there. Seen the Tic Tac 2 years ago in Teesside, so I would love to. Was it a daylight sighting or a nighttime sighting there? Which one is shot in the toilet? Yeah, my God, Jimmy Dore talked about him during the week there, about the dude from the CIA that started the tinfoil hat wording due to the chip he had in his neck. Yeah. There was some, I don't think I've seen that one, but I'm hearing more of these stories about it, you know, whether there is something to do with teeth conduction. There's a real thing with fillings, radio waves there, and also, yeah, chips in the head. Apparently they're far more advanced with those control chips. And I've been to the Golden Fleece in York for a pint, and I got to go upstairs there, so I count that as my only ghost hunt. I can't, actually, tell a lie. We rented a room a couple of years back at the Golden Fleece in York, to do a little bit of a bad first draft investigation, and didn't get anything at the time. But like I told the missus, I said, no, we're still staying in the travel lodge. We'll rent the room for the investigation. I'll waste the money. I am not staying in a notoriously haunted house. I couldn't do it. But I tell you what, you go into that room and it's, you know, when something's just set you off. And I was like, oh no, this is awful. This is, you know, like it really, yeah, I did not feel good in that room. And I really didn't want to go to the bathroom in the room. It was weird. It was weird there. But yeah, we didn't get anything obvious, but other than the sense there. Pull the back of your neck for small lumps. Be checking something else for lumps. Doing exactly the same as them. Yes, exactly. Oh, there has to be an anchor. So what do you think the anchor could be? Is it like a physical thing, or is it an event? And all the governments are not working with any of their citizens' goodwill. Hence I say, rise up and vote in Count Binface next week. See, you're right there. They are. But I think that's the nature of governments. I think that's the nature of it, you know. Like, I think that's what we need to figure out. I mean, we look throughout history and we have really, really drastic people in charge, drastic changes, different rolls of the dice. And they all tend to fall for the same hurdles, you know, the same levels of corruption, the same issues. So I'm starting to think it's not A or B. I think it's there's another issue going on. If it's the same thing that's catching us out, it's a CIA stooge. And why do they only ghost hunt at night there, and how do the ghosts know the difference between night and day? I think it's probably a similar thing to the UFO stuff. Again, it doesn't happen at night, it's just there is contrast. You notice things that are out of place, might be the more traditional reason for it, I would imagine. But then in the modern era, there is the entertainment factor. A lot of people get more entertainment out of it than they do from a research point of view, but you can't say that, so you have to say I'm doing it for serious research, not just because you're enjoying yourself. And obviously it's a little bit more fun at night, more attuned, that's a good way of doing it. From Future Ventura there, bender over like that. How are the skies? It's like all our presidents of the USA are a skull and bones. Oh, yes, they are. That was a nice shooting star right there. But they are. They're all skull and bones. They all come from the same places. But it's not necessarily the conspiracy you think it is. It's just that it's a physics problem. Mass attracts mass. So, you know, certain places have more power. If you've got money, it's easier to get money. If you've got power, it's easier to get power. It's like when people talk about the Conservatives always giving their mates all of the jobs, you know, and all of the contracts and stuff like that. It's true, but also it's not the correct way to think about it. The problem is that Labour do it too, and other parties. They're all just as corrupt. I think Burnham's missus was the one that got the contract for, you know, supplying energy for all his green bee buses in Manchester. So they're all up to the stupid stuff. But the Conservatives seem to be disproportionately high at doing it because conservatism lends itself to business owners, whereas that's not the case historically with the Labour Party. So they're going to have more people in their party naturally that will be bidding on the contract. So again, it's not like a clean test. So same with these universities and stuff like that. You know, it's the who you know with it. But it's really hard to fight against that. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but we have to recognise that it's a physics problem. It's like gravity. We can choose to put in the resources and the energy to send a rocket to beat the gravitational pull of the Earth, but it costs us a lot. You know, so we have to make sure that that's what we're doing with it. Because if we keep trying to vote people in because they're not going to follow down those rules, when the rules aren't for the individual, they are just for how things work, then we're always going to keep making the same mistake there. Exactly, Hopin. Why don't we get a dinosaur ghost there just roaming across the garden? I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. The only thing I really hear when it comes to animals are the dogs. There's lots of black dog stuff like that, but I don't hear so much about other ghost animals. No anchor for them. Okay, that could be. Holding the head under their arm. More than 200 years. In that range there. So always a lady in white. So I think the lady in white, the lady in greys, I think they're more cultural ghosts. You know, I don't think they're necessarily. I think you can probably get them, but I think there are the stories throughout time are the ones that kind of affect us more as it's like a fairy tale, you know, like a grim story. There's a lesson to it, and that's why it perseveres. But I still think there can be actual individualism. Right? How do you mean I would not stay there overnight? Yeah, I was not bound for that. And Nicole James there, you're missing so many anomalies on the screen, so I can't see any anomalies. I've got the big screen up right here in front of me. And at the minute, there's lots of moving things, but not many anomalous ones. Oh, that's a nice flash. But look, we have got a flasher.
Mode activated.
We have got a flasher right here. So a little flash twinkling away there. We need to see these objects stop dead, shoot off at speed, or change their course or trajectory for us to know for sure that they are something a little bit stranger than just the normal man-made satellites that are flying around up there in the night sky. There's always a woman in Victorian dress there. Why don't people see chavs in tracksuits? I think that too. But maybe as well with something like that is that you might not notice them out of place. You know, like our brains are always trying to save resources, save calories, aren't they? So if it can make a decision without having to look at any more details, it will. So a lot of the time, you know, you'll go, how's that pert as you're walking down the street? You know, your brain's looking out for threats or whatever it might be. It's going to go, sensibly dressed, just, suit, tie, shoes, minimal observation, not a high definition reading of that person. So maybe, if there is a slightly translucent chav, you're not going to notice him because he's going to kind of be in place maybe. But can you imagine, like, in like 50 years time, somebody's be brushing their teeth in the mirror, right? And they just see like the ghostly face just doing it like that and then disappear. The deadly dab. And think about a Disney movie with the kid trying to remember his granddad before his spirit faded away. No, what was that one? Okay, there. Why are you having a sulk? Stop it. Mercury microwave, guys. It's pulling my leg. Sometimes the black shape, no details. Yep. And we get the darkest sky in Europe here in Future Ventura. Ooh! I need to find like telescope farms that we can kind of rent, sky cameras on location, so we can do it from all around the world. It was Tudor Rose back then. And do you think the UK could ever release a full disclosure without America stepping in? Good question. I don't know if I don't think we've got the same attitude for it here. I think that, in theory they could, but I think, what are you playing at? You've got enough charge, you dickhead. Oh, in fact, I'm going to pull the fucking lead out of it. Right, you can stop it. Right. Oh, bloody thing. It's all going wrong tonight. No, it's not having it. Right, fuck it. No green background. So yeah, I don't know if they've got the pressure to do it there. I don't think we would have. I don't think we'd have the same level of research here. I think we tend to piggyback. If you look at like military technology as well, we will just rely on the US having it, and we'd have to rely on them. We don't even make our own nukes anymore, do we? We just buy them off the Americans. So I think they would let them pay for the research and development. And is it John Lennon summed it perfectly when he said, "We're owned by psychopaths the whole world over." We definitely are. We can't let it jade us, I don't think, and it's not an excuse to not participate and to not to try to improve these things. But I really do, a lot of the time, we're attacking the problem from the wrong place. Bob Marley was also talking out of place around the same time. Yeah. Definitely. And Jesus Historical, how you doing there? Wow, what a channel. Good to have you in. Where are you joining us from, Jesus? And oh, it wasn't for everyone. Actually, I tried slightly translucent chaff. Exactly. And Jeffrey. Yep. And just got back from Future Ventura last month. I love it there. I haven't been international in ages. Mate, though, if we do our on location, tour for the UK, it's not international, but then the next step is, like US tour. That'd be a daydream there. Either way, the anchor is the remembrance, and remembrance is people linked or local stories, hence ladies and grey white. Kate, you've just described light cones. That's brilliant. Because there is a theoretical physical argument to that. Well, not even theoretical, I think. The way that, the quantum side of the universe works there is all this observation, and it's how many connections and things there are like that. And, once you're out of that connected range, something doesn't necessarily have to happen in the right time order. Yeah, during connections there, that's very, very interesting. And I often wonder, is that where
Zoom mode activated.
Fame, the desire for fame and things like that comes from. Obviously, there is a certain amount of resources and power that is, I think, people would want naturally anyway for that. But is there a desire to be more observed, to be in more people's memories, to have had some sort of interaction, even if it was that they saw you on the TV for 5 minutes? To weave if you imagine like in those the TV shows where they're talking about removing somebody from the timeline, and then their picture fades out from the family photograph, and their kids die. If you're trying to erase someone going through all of the interactions, it's easy to do it with somebody that hasn't had a lot of interactions. But try and imagine erasing Bob Marley, for example. How many people have listened to his music and all of those knock-on effects there? It'd be a much harder job, wouldn't it? So I wonder, is that where that's to be more observed, to be more real, maybe? Why were Christians invented is the questions. Well, I mean, why was any religion, built there? It's a structure. Religion was made to create war. A lot of people think that way. I don't. I've come around a lot to it now. I think it was the way I find it to look at it is that it is people's best attempt with the resources available at the time to come up with how do we survive and navigate the world with each other. What are the rules that dictate that, and the way of passing that down, through that religious framework as a structure for how to exist in the world. Now, it doesn't mean that they got it right, but also different times need different rules and different laws. We don't even buy them. We rent our nukes there and would have to ask permission to use them. Really, Jonathan, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all with that. Jesus, if they don't pay, does the Rumbelows man come back round and claim them? Who have no space program either, which is ridiculous. Trading cards, it's even more ridiculous if you consider what our moon suits might have looked like. So there's a group, not that we ever had a proper space program. We did develop some, or try to develop some rockets and satellites that looked good, but didn't ultimately go anywhere. But there was the British Interplanetary Society, was always putting together notes and theories on things as a group, their opinions. And they came up with a design for a moon suit in the 40s. And it was recently, actually, it was built, it was made based on those designs for our Space Museum, wherever that is in the UK. It's a beast. Go have a look at it. If you've not seen the British Interplanetary Society's moon suit, you will wish that we had a space program. Like, do it in style. So your opinion, and you're entitled, Lucy. It's totally fine. We are all entitled to our opinion, and just because I say something, it doesn't mean I'm right. As well, these are all theories to be chopped and changed and negotiated with as well in the world. Joining from Nazareth, of course. Silly me. It was to create war. What you're on about? No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think it's a really simplified understanding. I mean, it's a product of it, because as soon as you divide any group of people up, then you have the people that aren't in that group. So of course you're going to get that, but I don't think that's what its primary purpose is. I think it is a set of rules and as a guide, like a simplified set of rules and guide for people to navigate existence, and those get more complicated as we go on. We go into more defined civilizations, nations, and all of that sort of stuff to do extra layers of things like that. But we are definitely, we've thrown out in the modern world, in our scientific generation there, we've scoffed at religion and gone, oh, we don't need that now. We have science. And science is great for the things that it covers, but it doesn't tell you anything about social, about morality, about that. And again, individual religions can get that more right and more wrong. They're all different rolls of the dice, same as evolution. Certain animals work better in certain environments, some work better across the board. That's just the nature of it, and there's an element of that to this. So it's not about them not getting it wrong, but as an understanding for man coming together and working at scale, they needed some guidance, some rules, some structure for that. I think a lot of the flaws with religion is the same as the flaws with science. It's a human interpretation of it and being dogmatic with it, I think, is the biggest problem for it. To control, people fell for it like I said. Nah. I'm not on that one. I don't know quantum, I know spirit though. But it's funny when you're describing these things and they have that match. And again, it doesn't have to be the same word for word match, Kate, but you're talking the same thing. And it's two people can come into the same conclusion, from scientific and then from like more spiritual angle there. That becomes really, really interesting then. It's like different points of evidence for something there. And we are not of this earth there. True evolution-wise, we are manipulated. Our religion thing is a way to hide the past. And they might be giants or sphinx. So I'm open to the idea of us, not being from this earth in various forms of that. I don't know which one I lean to more at the minute, but I definitely think could be there. And a lot of product of anything, as I said, is the same with the groups of, you're excluding a group there. You're also, if your framework doesn't allow for the previous stuff, you're excluding knowledge sometimes, a lot of the time. That's true, Jonathan. I wonder if we will ever invest in one, though. Doubt in our lifetime. Oh, it would be good if we did, but we wouldn't. There's gold mines in Africa, way, way older than anything recorded, but they call it an anomaly of geology. I don't know about the gold mines, but I know there is they call it an organic nuclear reactor. Is it? Somewhere in Africa, and they're saying it's just the perfect minerals at the right temperature actually causes, a a very slow nuclear reaction organically. It's the only place we know of it in the earth there. Some people say, or that it was, and it's now just heavily radioactive. Either that, or it was an actual nuclear reactor millions of years ago. It's one of the arguments around it. I'm not sure on the gold mines, but I'll be curious to know more on that one there. Don't forget your ass, Jedi. The Romans developed religion to perpetuate their strength across what used to be the Roman Empire. Well, they definitely developed their own one, but the Greeks definitely had religion before that one, and it looks like we go back to, the Mesopotamians, they had religions. It goes back. It seems to just be like this natural desire for humans, and I think it's like an inherent property, because if you're hunter-gatherers and you've got no fixed land and you're just roaming around, that's fine. You don't need property. Because nobody owns anything and there's enough resources. But as soon as there's too many humans, then you start to get territorial, and we see this in apes, don't we? So naturally, you go, this is mine, that is yours. The apes do exactly this. Apes have wars. Monkeys have wars, and they're fucking savage as well with it as well. So it's not just an exclusively human thing. But you start to see, like, when cultures start to group and together and to settle in fixed locations, then there becomes the ceremonial structures and things like that we see as well. So because, the more you work, you didn't need the rules if it's just a handful of you, because you can just talk to each other. But when you get, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger groups of people, the dynamics are totally off. So there has to be rules in place and structure. And again, well before established civilization, what about ways of doing that? I think it's an inherent thing of it there. Most of the Bible stories are repeats from many different eras and many different times. Exactly. But I think that is why I think it's like the next level. Like each time they come along, somebody comes along with a new one and goes, those worked, but these don't work, so let's put a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And if you take it literally, and again, I don't know if it's literal or not, I don't lean that way, but it doesn't mean that there isn't still some truth to some of these things, individual parts. Yeah, Jeff, I'd second it as well. The road did come to Scotland, not to conquer, but to trade, and they made it all the way to Inverness. They gave up with you lot because you're too rowdy. Caveman, I think Caveman built Stone Henge. You're talking about yourself in the third person. As far north as Inverness. Apparently they got to, where was it? Their empires, it was ridiculous. I mean, for what it was a beast, It's and think of how long ago it was. What always blows my mind is that, think of how advanced the Roman Empire was, and then it collapsed. And think about what we were like here in this country for the next, 600-700 years. Not far off of caveman again. We were the old, the Anglo-Saxons and stuff like that. It was like going back to it. It's crazy. Parallels between all religions and civilizations. It's the way people weaponize. I think that's the good way of putting it there, Kate. And we see it in science as well, which isn't a religion. How many times, especially in this as well, they go, how angry and how dogmatic they are with science. Well, science would have discovered it already, and you go, come on, lads, you've not looked. So then how can you know it's not there? Because they just want science to answer all questions for all things. And I think science could answer most of those questions, but it hasn't got around to it yet, and you need a structure in place for that. So I think it's just the human interpretation. People just going too dogmatically with it there. Exactly, Lilac. My religion is better than yours, which is a human product, isn't it? And if they make you think we were all just cavemen before the cross, well, they do that, and again, it's in their interest, certain people, to perpetuate those sorts of things, but it definitely wasn't true, was it? Pre-Christian Rome and all that sort of stuff was still very well. Greece, Egypt, and again, this is just what we know that's accepted in the mainstream. There are lots of clues. Another untracked one there, good spotting, guys. There are lots of clues, aren't there, that actually maybe things were a lot different, than the mainstream explanation. Maybe there's been a lot more activity over the years, a lot more civilizations up and down. I'm not religious either, but they're basing the beliefs on your own frame of reference, which is now completely different what it was. But so that's a very good point. It's like a lot of the stuff when we look back on the past and we go, a good example, the British Museum, where they've all of these stolen artifacts from everywhere in the world. Well, technically, to some degree, yes, but also everybody was doing that. That's what everybody did at the time. Our own moral. We're now fortunate enough and stable enough. Well, it's questionable now as a civilization to be able to afford the luxury of not stealing and not things. To take the pyramids as well. Lots of those, given they were ransacked, the tombs are ransacked as well, because people were so hand to mouth. They were still in survival mode very, very much. They didn't have the luxury of going, this will be good to look at in future generations. No, they stole the stone off of the pyramids because they needed it to survive. Out in Peru and South America, they still do grave robbing and all that sort of stuff because, our own experience of that we can get food and we are reasonably safe here. It's not the same in other places for this sort of stuff. So it's very easy to go, well, this is my experience now. And okay, if we walked in now, we sent our Navy, down to South America and go, oh, I really like those burial bundles from all of your dead ancestors there. We're going to take them. Of course, that would be wrong now. That's not how the world is. But back in the day, well, not only were those objects not safe, so we actually did save them, but we also did pay for most of them. It wasn't just that we stole them all, all of the time there. So, we tend to kind of overly simplify very, very, very complex issues. And anyway, if you want to join me on my quest to rename the British Museum to the British Trophy Room. If I want to slap, so do. What's that for? My religion is rock, and rock can't fail you. I have to look at the comment section to see what the subject of religion does. Exactly. It's an interesting one, but the reason I tolerate the religion conversation more than the the politics one is because I think it's very, 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 very important to kind of, just open up the cracks of it as well, because this is the thing. If we go, everything is religion's fault, let's get rid of all the religions, I don't think it's going to solve all of our problems, because again, I don't think it's the fault of the religions. Maybe I said some are more right than wrong than the others and all that sort of stuff, but it's us as individuals, as humans, being too blind and dogmatic with the last bit of information we were given. That's what we need to sort out, and then that solves it all for everyone there. Right here in the universe, Jedi. Verifying states of ice there, Kate. Is varying states of ice there. Ice Queen. Religion divides people. It's exactly why it was created. Well, it does divide, because you're labeling, aren't you? As soon as you say that there is, then there is and is not. But I think there's always going to be divisions, because there's divisions geographically. There's some people that are in lands that are bountiful and the crops grow and the harvests are great, and then there's some people across the pond, across the river, who's they're going through a drought and their crops aren't harvesting. So immediately there's a division there, and then they're going to fight about it as well. So you're right, it is a division, but I don't think that's the problem with it. I think it's what we do with it. I think it's us going, as you say, like there is an us and a them. That's okay. Why do we have to make a deal? It's how we process it, I think. Because you can definitely, I think, criticize specific religions and people within religions, but like the concept of a religion, I don't think is overall. It's definitely a flawed thing. The human input, exactly. Control, conquer, divide. That's the stream subtitle there. I'm more spiritual. Just got off work there, Amanda. How are you doing? How was work for you today? You've jumped right in on the religious one. I can imagine if everyone around the world joined together, we would take over their wicked plans to control us. See, I don't think we would. I think we can, but I don't think we would now. Because the reason we have differences is because we have differences. Like the world experience for us as individuals is not the same, and we are roughly collected together on how much we do share. Like, you can't force people. You can enslave people for a period of time, but it costs a lot of money. They're not sustainable. The borders will always collapse. They tend to balance themselves out based on how much of a shared experience you have. Because and then it's energy and technology that kind of equalizes it around the board. But when we get technology and our shared experience is more shared across the board, then I think we'll have less to argue about with it as well. I mean, because you look at trade and things like that. Well, it costs me more to manufacture because of more of my energy prices. So it's not fair that your cheap Chinese stuff comes in to the UK because you don't have the same energy restrictions, and therefore it's cheaper for you to produce and all of that sort of stuff. It's not the same. It's a very, very complicated web, because even for say. My mother lives in town with us now, and we both live about 5 minutes from the local supermarket. She's up a hill, and I'm more on the level. So although we will go to the same supermarket on foot, right, and we'll spend the same price on a bottle of Coca-Cola there, and with the same sort of physical distance in meters from said supermarket, there's going to be a different calorific expense because she has to go up and down the hill, and I'm pretty much on the level with it, so although that is so same, like she used the same currency, she's experiencing the same weather, the same temperature, the same distance, there is still a different calorific expense. And then you can take age into account and stuff as well. So like, even as it's something that we think, oh, we are all the same, we do actually have a lot of differences. And that's where the arguing goes. Well, look, your idea for how to work doesn't match me in my unique situation, and all this sort of stuff. And Judge Dredd is the cure for all the thought crimes against Zionism. How do you plead? That you do worry, that's where it's going, Judge Dredd there. Believe a bird woke up pregnant one day, and then you're mental, let alone all the stuff. I mean, for them buying it, I've got to admit, that was a big one to swallow there. It was what's on the Discord? There was an ape civil war recently in the Congo. I think, yeah. So I think this just proves, doesn't it, that again, we like to think this is us because we're inherently evil, nasty species. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the physics of how things work. Now, we are conscious beings and we can choose to act differently, and I think it's important that we do. But we have to be, like, I can't just decide to wake up tomorrow and float off into space. If I want to do that, if that's important to me, I have to apportion resources to do it, to prioritise that action over something else. And Caveman, Musk and SpaceX have proposed launching up to 1 million satellites into low Earth orbit to act as a massive solar-powered AI data center. I heard about that one. You think, how the hell is that sustainable? A part of it that I didn't realise, we're getting clouds. Guys, see if I can spin the camera. I didn't realise that was an issue for these things, is obviously when they burn up, all of the heavy metals that they're made of go into the atmosphere, and sometimes it can be like 20-30 years before they fully settle down and live. We know the problem that they've caused, and that is something that sits in the back of your mind. Now, I'm pro. I think what Musk is doing for space is a good thing, but there are obvious worries. As the skid said, things are united and we will never be divided. And basing all of that off of this time frame there. In the past, nobody had an idea of other countries existed, nor religious belief there. And if it were now, I would agree, it would be about a division. I think so. But even now, I don't think it's that. And this is the only bit I'm going to go into on the political front here. But I sit very interestingly between two groups of people. Left and right can be distinguished as, and by that I mean I have friends and family and colleagues stuff that are, I'll go into my place of work, it's very left leaning. I go to certain family members, it's very right leaning, and again within that there's a right mix. And it's very, very interesting that what you hear, say I'll go to the left, will go, those horrible racist right there, they just want to destroy and divide us. And then you go to the right and they go, those horrible leftists, they just want to destroy and divide us. And you go, wait a minute, you both, and they believe it. Both sides generally passionately believe that that's what's going on. So you're thinking, well, how can both of those be true? This is the thing, we're mixing. We assume that it is a conscious choice to divide, and that's what they're doing. It's a malicious conscious choice to divide. But actually, and I think this is why it trips us up so much, is that it's not that person is constantly twiddling their evil moustache going, haha, my plans are coming to work. It's that we think we're doing the right thing, and we get on our high horse, whichever which way it is, and we blindly do it belligerently against other people's input. That is how it happens. Enoch built Stone Henge. The kids of United will never be divided. Believe in corruption. That didn't exist back then. So corruption does exist. But that's the human trait, isn't it? With it there. But again, corruption, I don't think we get that right. I think we think corruption is something that happens, but I think corruption is something that's always with us. I think it's best to think of corruption as efficiency. The more advanced your society gets, the less corruption there can be. Because, and it really changed my mind on this, was I was looking, there was a story about certain African police officers taking bribes and stuff like that. And I was typically in my head, I went, oh, well, that's typical, isn't it? They're so bloody corrupt and so backwards. Of course they're going to take bribes like that. And then we go through the story, and the essentially was, well, if they didn't take the bribes, their family would have been targeted by the criminals. So there wasn't enough support from the state and from the society to provide security for the heads of police. So then they had to take the bribes. And I'm sure some of them willingly did it. It's always a little bit of an A and a B. But again, it's like society has to be able to back up what it's saying there, and ultimately that's something that we're all trying to build together: more resources, more energy, to be able to do more and more things. But yeah, it's not just about the rules that we put in. It's the society has to be able to support the enforcement of those rules. If I as a citizen of the UK, if I want to defend my home, it's a very grey area. If I get somebody burgle me, the most that I can do really is go and just call the police and hide. That is their official explanation around it. There are certain exceptions, that you are technically bound to, but to be honest, most of the time they don't want you doing that. They don't want you taking it too far. They don't want you hurting the burglar. The attitude is, leave it to us. And you go, well, in a civilized society, maybe that is a good thing to do there. But the problem is, they're now not investigating burglaries. They're now not prosecuting people. Then even if they do investigate and they convict someone, they won't prosecute. The judiciary won't actually put in any penalties. So then it gets to a point where if people are being burgled a lot, and then nobody's doing anything about it, people will take it into their own hands. It's a balance. So the state has to be able to back up the rules that it imposes on people. And if you go back thousands of years, there wasn't much resources generally from a state position. So I think corruption is more like efficiency. Yeah, at the end, it depends how far back you go there. And didn't God wipe us out within the floods because he didn't like the way we were treating each other? And he had a hissy fit and went straight to genocide. Well, no wonder where we got it from, Ralph. And it makes you wonder what we're doing to AI if we're programming our details in there. And of course, the ancient creator, Moloch, there. This is where the Roman Romulus comes from. I do find those stories fascinating, especially when you look through an ET lens. What's that? Is it Defo? Is it Defo across the line there with someone something told to be untold? What was that? Yeah, but this is the thing, a structure of religion isn't far from the function of belief, which is a normal human function, isn't it? Because we're always trying to look for things to explain our experiences in the world, and yeah, it's not far, is it, that we can go, I think this is what's happened, and if that is not corrected, then it becomes a structure. I said they decided that eating mummies had some health benefits. My God, they did. Are you telling me it's not, Kate? Hello from Denmark. Mr. DB, how are you doing there? A bit cloudy now. She's told good Mary. Religion is fascinating when you don't live by the frankly incorrect translation book of stories. I think that is the thing. We need to be a little bit of a lighter touch with it. And the same is with opposing arguments. I think this is across the board. We're not just talking about religion, but if we're talking about politics, if we're talking about the scientific explanations for what's going on as well, can we open these things up and go, right, is there anything in here? If I'm being really, really bloody generous, right, is there anything in here that could contribute and make a stronger argument together with it? Now, humanity, that's the problem. It's not what we believe. Yeah, I'd go with that. We're all Canaanites, or if not, you're the enemy. There are two things I never discussed at the dinner table: religion and politics. Lilac, exactly. And it is a bit of a grey area, because look, this is the place for people of both sides of the political, but also on the religion. It's totally fine and open to these things. As I said, it's the same principles that apply. You know, we're all allowed to share our thoughts and beliefs and stuff. But I think religion does tie into the phenomena, so I think it's important to bring up here as well. It's getting deep, and is it? Me too, Raf. What is the time? Ah, yeah, it's nearly going to be coming off time, I think. It must be a demon, Lucy. Not at all. I've started becoming more interested in what's out there and have bought myself a night vision camera. Excellent there, and I go out at night looking for UFOs there, just like many of you. Oh, Mr. DB, we want to hear if you do get any really good sightings. Just like let us know if you get any good videos. That is awesome. Whereabouts in the world? Oh, no, I think you did say, didn't you? Well, let me scroll up. Well, you did say where you were watching from. Literally 10 seconds ago. Denmark, that was it. You guys have a little bit of a history with UFOs there. Do you know anybody that's had an experience there? And demons actually don't use logic and philosophy. Ireland in the house. How are we doing, Damien? And it is not what is out there. It's what I mean. Disinformation. It's all the spy planes and jets and nukes. We are the aliens of this earth. There's no explanation for humanity. I think there are explanations, but it is different. We do seem to be drastically different, don't we? A 10x. So I'm definitely open for there being some sort of playing around with it there. And Andrew there, to quote the Bible, the wheat from the chaff is to be separated there. Evil is going to be wiped from the earth. Governments and organizations, religions are corrupt and are the evil at the helm of humanity. So like, I could lean into a lot of that. Like I would say, yeah, the governments and religions are corrupt. But I think this is where we keep getting it wrong, is that whatever systems we put in place, whoever we put in charge of them, will be corrupt to a certain degree, with, you know, some of them more than others, obviously. But I think what we have to do is put the systems in and then tackle the corruption, tackle the individuals, and as an individual of ourselves as we go forward. Because it's always the, well, this doesn't work, let's try something else, rather than, right, let's figure out which parts within this are, you know. And what kind of night vision camera do you guys use, Mr. DB? So this is not actually a night vision camera. It's just a very low light lens, lets in a lot of light. It's just a Sony A7, low light in there. We are looking at some night vision though, because the benefit of night vision uses the infrared light part, which we don't do at the minute in the light spectrum. That is meant to be very, very, very active for the phenomena there. So you'll probably be able to see things that we couldn't as well. And Stone Henge is the giant doomsday clock. Oh, I've not heard that theory before, but I like it. And Sean mentioned times there. It seems that now in 2026, UFOs alien life has been confirmed, and no real doubt anymore. And the discussion is, who are they, and are they friendly or hostile? So I would say very, very close to that. The phenomena has been confirmed, definitely officially in various ways, shapes, or forms. The specifics about what that could be, not quite as much yet, because it's not just, you know, the little green men from other planets, the extraterrestrials. There is serious arguments I've heard are really interesting around time, around dimensions, and also, you know, other forms of life that are still here on Earth. But I don't think we're far away from that, at the very least. I think there are a few reports that I think are going to get close to just pushing a little bit more on that. So I do feel it's very, very close there, Sean, of ancient times. There's what's your running theories? Where do you lean the most with all of this? Do you think you know, the extraterrestrial component to this is the winning one, or you think that other things could be at play? You're at your door there. We are the aliens, could well be. And there is overwhelming global evidence for ghosts, gods, and the supernatural. That has silenced almost all skeptics, and now aliens are fact 2 there and progress, which is good. So I would say there is definitely evidence for all of those things. But what we haven't done is we haven't brought most of them into the scientific realm conclusively. We haven't fleshed out all the details, all of the corners. But this is true of lots of aspects of physics, or from just of our reality as we understand it. You know, gravity, time, consciousness. These are all things that we have sort of rough definitions for, not far from, you know, how we in the alternate communities will talk about ghosts and things like that. Why is that flashed? Bloody thing. Yeah, no need to flash. TikTok isn't connected. Fuck off. Anyway, so yeah, we have these functional definitions, but even science doesn't know what time is fundamentally, or gravity is fundamentally as well. So sometimes there are just inherent limits with it. But yeah, we need to bring certain things out out of the shadows, and we need to spend more time, because there is such a history of these things, being reported throughout the ages, through various different cultures. Same with the UFOs as well. Kind of is a case of both of these are true when one leans too heavily into politics, religion, I don't know, whatever it sounds like I'm talking about. But I think it's exactly it, But this is part of why, like, neurology is a really interesting part of this, and technically I suppose it's psychology mostly. But the idea that, look, our brains are trying to not figure anything out that they don't have to. Getting food to run a brain, the brains are expensive to run, food is expensive, and it's historically been very, very rare. If there is a good enough answer, subconsciously our brain will go, good enough. Right, I don't need to know the details on that one. That is a bad person. That is a bad thing. Don't need to interact with. Go away. Save the calories to think about it. And so our brains are always trying to push us to do that sort of things, and we end up on very simplified understandings of things, which then get us into trouble. Not ventured out with your camera yet there, I keep getting called into, Amanda, but when you do, though, you will get some good ones. And what's the green lines I see on the screen there, Troy? So there is the grid, and that is basically, if you call out a number, A2, grid where that'll highlight a square. So if anything I've missed, because as you can tell, I spend a lot of time in the chat, highlights the grid, everybody sees it, and I can zoom in on it if it's very interesting. The green wavy line at the minute, that is to do with our tracking software. So we're actually tracking the moving dots, which mostly are going to be man-made satellites. So we're looking for the ones that act really, really weird. That's all that. The green and red lines there. That's the tracking software. I haven't seen it in a while, but I suppose the cloud's coming in now. So we're following the movement of these moving objects, and again, we're looking for them to stop dead, shoot off at speed, change their course or trajectory. There we go. So what it does, it identifies the movement. It follows it along a straight path. So if it is a man-made satellite, it will be just a boring path at a consistent speed. And to be fair, ET will be most of the time as well. But ET has the ability to jazz it up a bit and change that. And if it does that, hopefully it goes red, and then we see what's going on there. The Abrahamic stories come from Iran there, and Aryan Oasis, etc. Hence, and destroying all ancient temples. Yes, so there are definitely I'm like this as well in politics. Like, I totally agree with the problems that people highlight. Totally agree with the problems. As you can tell, I disagree with the proposed solutions, because I don't think it's going to get us to where we want to go. And it's true, we were seeded and tended to, and they want most of us to evolve and will appear to the masses sooner rather than later. The idea of seeded, I mean, there are various versions of this, and that I find very plausible. At the very least, in a sort of an undirected panspermic sense, the idea that life probably just sneezes itself around the universe, around the galaxy. They're like very, very high on that one. Maybe directed, maybe there was a chosen thing, we're going to put this life here, see how it gets on. Maybe that tending. I said those ancient stories, they are interesting to me there. We already have aliens inside us there. People just forget about blood, lymphocytes, and bacteria. So, yeah, well, they are, in a sense. I mean, viruses as well. But they're one of the ones that are they're weird. And when they arrived on our planet, it changed all forms of life. Like, it had. That's why we have biological sexes, guys, because of viruses. The idea is that you can't, if you are passing all of your genes down to your offspring, it's too much to pass viruses and all of those issues along with it. So that's why we split our genes with biological sexual reproduction there to give that out, to fight against that. It was a real fundamental change there. So it could have been one of the things that could have come from somewhere else there. It's Raph and Alan. Don't blame me, I get enough trouble. And Sean, I've seen UFOs, but from afar, but they were not, and I am certain man-made objects or natural phenomena, and by how they moved, acted realistically. I can't say for certain but what they are. Sean, bang on. That's exactly the sort of thing that we see here. So we see things that act in ways that satellites can't at this speed, these altitudes, planes, all that sort of stuff like that. But to say, is it ET flying from A to B? I don't know for sure. All I can say is that it doesn't fit the known options by some way. So very interesting. What's the most interesting one you've seen? Most interesting movement profile there? We are them and they're here. Raf's taken out the window with Alan. I'd say eating mummies is a fast back way to some incredible diseases. You would have thought, wouldn't you? But Alan swears by it. If Scotsman eats kebabs in the woods there, do sheep cry?
on their question. Now, obviously, alien civilizations would have the same problem as us, like war or disagreement or a lack of resources for all. Conflict is central to civilization's thought. So, Sean, bang on. I don't think there is any reason that we would assume that aliens are any better than us. You know, like, I think there are various versions of this, but the reason that we are complex life forms, the reasons we have fingers, toes, eyes, arms, hands, heads, ears, is because we were competing with other organisms, and sometimes the same organisms themselves. If there wasn't that element of competition for resources and safety, then we would be gelatinous blobs absorbing heat from the sun. We wouldn't have needed any of this stuff. So if any of the contact accounts true, aliens look very much like us. They look like complex beings, you know. It's where intelligence probably evolved from in of itself. They would have had a similar evolutionary pressures, have gone through the same things to warrant that as well. Now, therefore, we shouldn't assume that they are any less aggressive, or at least haven't been in their past, you know. Now, maybe the idea is that they may have advanced beyond that, but if that is true, then I think that they would view us through the lens of, like, we look at animals, wild animals. They go, oh, dangerous, let's keep behind the armoured glass in the gorilla cage, because, you know, it will fuck you up. But we don't put the moral judgment, do we, on the animals? I think they'd view us like that. And again, the argument could be a good one, because the idea that if a civilization is reaching us, the only way that we can conceive of that being possible would be something like a warp drive there, and to do that you would need a lot of energy. It's possible, but energy would be needed. So having energy, though, you can build a warp drive, but you can also go bang. That energy it's like nuclear technology. We go, oh, bad nuclear weapons, but look at the benefits of nuclear energy. You know, like, that would be, it's good and bad, depends how you use it. And the you know, warp drive would be the same there. So there's basically, the argument would be that if you have that technology, your civilization would have to have its shit in line, because otherwise somebody would use it to just blow each other up. So you'd have to be just so lockstep and rigid and everybody in agreement all of the time, which kind of looks like what we're seeing. So maybe they would be less warlike because they've got their shit together, because they're more advanced. And could you imagine giving nuclear weapons back to the feudal period, like the kings and the queens of Europe of old? There would have been nukes gone flung left, right and centre just because somebody's died and somebody wants to challenge somebody for the air. So we had to kind of mature, and luckily enough, touch wood, we seem to be we haven't destroyed ourselves with nuclear weapons just yet, basically. So we had to earn that technology. We had to have a certain amount of stability in the world, so we didn't start luzzing them from A to B. And the same thing would be true for that. It's like people talk about the aliens bringing us infinite, energy and free 0-point energy. Let's hope they don't, because we definitely do not have. We have not got our shit together for that. But it is a bit of A and B. If we did have infinite energy, again, we would equalise our experiences. We'd have less differences, we'd have less problems and less reasons to chuck bombs at each other. But would we do that before we did blow each other up there? AI has done so much damage when it comes to the UFOs there. It's becoming harder to show anything because people think it's AI there, or they just make fun of the people all the time. Yeah, Mr. D, it is, but we've tackled this before. The same used to be the case with photographic images there. Most of the time, people didn't have the Photoshop. It was quite hard to forge an image. The same as well with the written word. Back in the day, it was it was the church that could afford printing presses, and therefore everything was treated as an official document. But then that became easier, and things are more to fake. Yes. I think, but it's not something that's going to totally wipe us out there. Oh, Bluebeam, Lucy, yes, Project Bluebeam. So this was a theorized false flag. So basically us attacking ourselves and blaming it on the enemy operation there. But they were talking about using aliens as the enemy. There you go. Oh, look, it's this nasty alien race. Look, they've come here. They're going to invade us, right, guys? Well, we need to have a one world government and lock you all in and give you more rules to follow and all that sort of stuff. So I think very, very plausible. It didn't happen for whatever reason, but I do think that is always something that we have to be careful of, because of the marriage one. What's that for? And no, AI has not caused a doubt. AI is a great thing, and as a tool to help finding UFOs. So this is, I think, you have a really interesting point. I think it's both. This is the thing. We want to say nice binary, good or bad, don't we? But it's both. It has, brought in a doubt to the images that are available now. Like, you can't just take anything as to the same degree as real as you did before, because it's so good. But on the flip side, AI then does provide us with the power and the tools to process and do deeper research. So I think it is both. Oh, the translation didn't come through there for Mr. DB on that one there. I like to keep things separate. I think it's wise. Most people on Earth are all readily accept alien life or the idea of to seem, and AI can help the search in my thoughts. So I don't think most people on Earth are yet. I think it is changing. But you remember, we're in our own bubbles. We talk to a lot of people who are similar. I still make the mistake of bringing up the UFO topic with people at work and stuff like that, and I get the look. I don't get fired, which is a change, but or put to a mental home. But I still, I don't think it's quite there yet. But I think it can help ultimately there. And Pancake, how well we do him? You caught him to the cloudy patch now. People actually eating mummies, bandits. Yeah, they do. They used to grind them up back in like the Victorian era. They'd have parties. They're bloody nutters. Thank you for the effort of translating the other ones, though, mister. And I have myself recorded videos that no one can explain right now, but they are on my other channel. Mr. DB, we have, if you use Discord, do join us there. We've got a link in bio. We've got a really, really cool personal experiences section, so you can put the links to those videos in there, and then the whole community can see them, even if they're not on the stream right now. Sausage mash and a bit of mummy. It's a traditional Northern dish. And the people of countries are not in control of their governments and never were. Yep. That is becoming more and more obvious. There's an oligarchy that's been in control of the world for thousands of years. Very, very much so. Very much so. But we need to figure out how we stop doing that. And it's not the other person, because we've tried that one 1,000 times. There is mass attracts mass. It's a physics thing. The more mass, that's how planets form. Right, the more mass you have, the more mass gets attracted to it. Same works with money, the same works with power. These are inherent products. So unless you keep everybody tiny and nobody's ever in charge of anything, then it's always going to be an issue. So we have to figure out how we do it. I don't know what you're missing. I don't know how you guys feel about sharing this here and the chat to their other groups, though. No, yeah, we love it, Mr. DB. We love it there. The more people talking about the things, the better. Milk and a wee bit of butter. You're talking about your recipes for it there. And Damien there, I watched a clip the other day, and apparently there is an actual base on the dark side of the moon. And there is more than one kind of in there, which it was far-fetched. However, now that NASA has revealed their billions of dollars plans to now build a base on the moon, and the fact of the deliberate crash of the rocket, I'm kind of thinking differently on the clip. So this is the thing, we need a various, probably 7 points to believe something. As I think of my own journey in the UFO world, right? Little green men in metal spaceships. Well, I already believe life is probably out there. So then all I'm thinking is life is it able to visit us? And then if it visits us, does it crash? It's only a couple of steps that I don't already believe. But then if you're telling me a specific story, it's the Zeta Reticuli. So, you need to have more points, and exactly what you're saying with the moon there. Adding more species. Why? I don't even know about one yet. You've got to kind of build it out like that. But as you're getting in those other things, it's more and more and more plausible. I definitely think the moon is the perfect place for things like that. This is the best dish. Isn't it weird that the Dwarf 3 can see a close-up of the moon and objects passing the moon, but can't see the actual moon surface? I don't know. I need to see the images of that one. I know that it can see a lot of the time when we do get the images and you see something past the moon, a lot of the time it's actually our satellites because they're closer, coming in front of the thing. Not necessarily always, but you've got to remember how big they would be versus. So it might be something like that in play. I mean, we can get a good shot just like that. That's what it looks like when we do a moon stream, but that's literally as close as we can get. What was really frustrating is when they did the Artemis mission, and they had a GoPro literally strapped to the outside of the spaceship as it was approaching the moon. I kept bringing this up and going, ours is better. Fucking hell, NASA, you dropped the ball. Jedi's falling asleep there. Alan, explain consciousness then. Tatties and meter left first. Well, exactly. Nobody can fully. There's some arguments for it. Cross-dimensional travel, problem solved. Boom, retro. It is one of the areas, the dimensional angle of this. Where are we now? I used to do a UFO spotting at the Barge Inn in Wiltshire. I never saw anything. I didn't know there were places still doing it. Right, well, we're going to... Sorry, I need to replug this in because it's annoying me. Hold on. There we go. There are. Ooh, stick with us. You'll see some things. And gelatinous blob. Gelatinous Bob. You have just described me sitting in a man cave eating the chips, cornflakes. You've devolved there, Rich. Never seen a deep fried Mars bar. But they are delicious. Had one once a very long time ago there. So reads every comment and jumps from one topic to another. I struggle to remember what we were all talking about. Half of the time, but I like hearing your stories, because there's a lot of times where I've gone, yeah, I think I know what I'm on about with this thing like that, and then somebody comes in and they go, well, how have you considered this? And I go, oh shit, no, I haven't. So it's a really good place for us all to learn, because some of you guys really know your shit. Where are we down here? Okay, let's get a little bit of clear sky for the last few minutes of this. Dundee was the richest place in the Old Kingdom, and still is if we find Cromwell's gold. I've heard about that one. All at the tracker there, trying to track the stars where I was moving the camera. Oh, stop it. There we go. Turn it off for a second. Why do people label everything related to UFOs as insects when someone captures something they believe could be a UFO or UAP? Mr. DB, it's psychology. It's psychology. It's how our brains work. So, again, the brains don't want to, again, like most of the time, we don't as individuals scientifically prove or disprove everything we come across in our day. We find the closest fit that allows us to go forward with our day and get on with things safely. That's it. So when somebody who doesn't believe in UFOs, and we've all had this experience, we've gone, look at this thing, I think this is brilliant evidence. You show it to them and they go, what? Maybe it's a satellite. And you go, no, it can't be a satellite. It can't be this, like that. And they go, oh, probably. They don't believe you, because they've got no structure of belief for the UFO stuff. So the best way they explain this is that you're wrong. That you see it all the time, So it's more of a psychological problem there. And sometimes you cannot perceive things that are actually there. We're all a bit mental here, exactly. The old 35mm film seems to be a thorn in the side of the fake AI pictures abusers. Probably, yeah. I think we're going to go back. You go back to the value of these sorts of things now. The extra effort involved there. As a sort of a stamp of authenticity. If we ever find the gold plaque, the gold pillaged by Monk Cromwell's Scottish minion, destroyed our city more than he loses gold ever did. I think I heard it. Is that the one where it might be on a lake or something there? Oh, hold on. The missus is calling. Hello? Are you okay? Are you all still up partying? Oh. Oh, good night, Stinky. Well, I'll be coming off soon, so I'll message you and maybe you can find a gap, a place to talk. I am, yes. I can't at the second, but I am winding up literally in a second, so just trying to quickly scroll through the last few messages. Oh, all right, so, well, I'll text you then. I love you. Thanks. Bye. Oh, right, where did we get to here? Where did we get to before we wind these things up? I just out of context message there. RAF blowing up cinemas. Only problem with England is a bunch of lying snakes trying to think of the Stuart lineage passed to a Dutchman. Makes them all British. Too beyond me. Where are we now? Sure. We're dealing with drones and large insects and birds that light up here in Denmark right now. And if you believe our Prime Minister, it's very difficult for someone like me to get any information. It is hard in these day and age. And these are things that we do have to actively filter out, but and contend with. But it doesn't mean that is everything, is it, that is up there? Another pixel in beta 3 dying out there, possibly. That one. Yes, you are right. Got one there, got one there. And one up there, sadly. Daily, is this real? Yeah, this is real. It's a live camera. Coming to you live from Wiltshire here in the UK, right in the heart of crop circle country, just down the road from Stone Henge. There you go. We're looking for objects like this that stop dead, shoot off at speed, change their course or trajectory. Oh, it can't seem to join the group on the Discord. Might need to be let in. I think if you've pressed the button and it said join, should work. I haven't gone in our own Discord today. I'm desperate to. Let's have a look. Pending. Oh, I'm not seeing you on the pending there. Oh, actually, is our link? Our link might be Duff. Somebody was saying this the other day. I'll have to double check that one. Well, make sure you subscribe because we'll be on again tomorrow night, and then hopefully I'll have it sorted by then. If not. Right, anyway, I'm going to wind up for tonight, guys. It's been a good one. We've had some good chats there, some deep thinking. Oh, we've had people. Okay, maybe it's just for some people it's not working then. But yeah, the link in the bio for the Discord should take. If you've already got Discord, it should kind of prompt you to join, but you have to download the app first, I think, there. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a fantastic conversation there tonight, getting very, very deep. You're awesome, as always. Thank you always for hanging out with us, sharing, liking, and all that jazz. Thank you, mods. And yeah, we will be back on tomorrow night. I think it's going to be another Skywatch. Let's just double check that one before we come off. What's the weather like tomorrow? Yep, it is very clear tomorrow. So not even this cloud that we're getting tonight. So hopefully, yeah, we're going to have some more things there. Raf, you mean you waited for the stream to end? Alan's very disappointed. Pleasure, guys. Well, I hope to see you all tomorrow night there. Bye-bye, guys.